If you've ever rotated an old school USB-A connector 3 times before it finally went in, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Happy Friday. We made it. We are almost at mice down, drinks up time, but we've got one more session to take care of first.
Welcome to Benzinga Live Trading.
Let's see if this actually kind of comes back.
Way out of control, got way too high.
All right. Hey, I will take that. I will absolutely take that.
All right, folks, welcome back to another episode of Live Trading. I am your host, Ryan Faluna, and I've got my main man, 13, in the back. 13, how you doing today? How's your Friday treating you?
Oh, so far so good. Just still watching this broader market keep trading up on the lowest volume I've seen in a long time. Almost up to the all-time high again of 524.61 in the SPY. So not too much further to go. Do we hit it? We'll have to find out.
Yeah, so let's talk about the low volume here, because that's something that we've been watching for a while. It's something we've chronicled. It does look at this point like we're at least going to test some new highs there, albeit on super low volume. Don't you think that this kind of sets up for a really big elevator down move?
It feels that way. And one of the things I was watching or looking at yesterday, because I was thinking, wow, we've had such low volume multiple days in a row now. Have you seen this at any time before? So I went back to just, the end of 2021, right before we started to roll over. Volume started to get the same way. We only saw the big volume days on big selling days and subsequent bounces. So I'm not gonna just go out and say, oh yeah, we're topping out now. We could break through the all-time high and keep going. But the low volume to me is an indicator that we're not getting the participation. There's not even Warren Buffett wants to buy anything up here. There's no real big buying happening. It looks like we're setting up for some big selling more than big buying.
And on top of that, anything that's not a major stock or a huge stock has already been absolutely pummeled for the most part over the past several years. So I think if we do get one of those drops there, it's going to be painful for a lot of people. I really believe that. So I'm trying to avoid it. We'll see what happens. 521.44 is our current SPY price. I think that all-time high there is 524 and change. So we're about 3 points above that. We'll see what the volume does. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the stocks that are gapping here today and see what type of trading possibilities we have for it. First one here is going to be NVAX. I see a number of people in the chat already in NVAX here.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like you guys are playing this. So what's going on with NVAX, you ask? Well, let's break it down like a fraction here. Novavax shares trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q1 GAAP EPS results and updated fiscal year 24 guidance. So here's the intraday chart of NVAX. You can see this morning we popped really to a 6 handle, and then somehow on the expanding volume that we look for every single day, we got it in the pre-market in spades, and we ramped to above 14. Since then, we've really kind of pulled back here towards the VWAP level at about 980, and we seem to be holding that so far. So as far as the technical goes, that's what's going on in NVAX. Now, 13, I did see that there was some more news that kind of came out of this. Have you gone through and digested all of this yet?
A little bit more than just the initial headline. Apparently, I think one of the big reasons why we're seeing this movement is just for 2 reasons. One, we have the Sanofi payments. There's an agreement. Sanofi is a company that made an agreement with Novavax for vaccines. They're going to be making payments of them sometime this year. It's going to be in the range of 970 million to 1.17 billion. So that's likely giving it a lift. Also, we have a very high short interest on this company, 40.28% short interest with 11.16 days to cover. That is short squeeze candidacy like I haven't seen in a while. Maybe not since Carvana.
I was just thinking Carvana was the last one that this reminds me of. That's a good mention.
Yeah, so we could see this squeeze for multiple days. It's certainly doing that now that we've broken over 10. I was watching it just a little bit ago, seeing if we were getting over 10. We've done that. The pre-market high that this got up to was 14.18. So I don't think it's unreasonable to believe that the price could end up shooting back up to that level at least during this regular session, maybe even higher. So we'll see.
Yeah, this thing can really kind of get going here. For right now, it actually looks like it's trying to break out from 10 here. The big key to me, 13, is that we were going to need to see this type of volume participation in the regular session. My worry here is that so many of the, whatever day traders or whatever volume is in here might actually cash this out as it comes back in. Remember, this stock closed here around $4.50 yesterday, and we're currently almost at 10. We're still up 121% here this morning. I have to think there's going to be some profit taking. If we do kind of dip out of the open here, maybe there will be a viable bounce spot. That will be something that we'll watch here. So
great point by Smoke Tuna saying NVAX might have a flush at the open, and that's pretty much what you're also saying. So
that's what I'd look for here. Yeah. To be honest, though, that wouldn't even be really terrible, frankly. If we get a flush down to some type of support level, that actually makes it fairly decent to trade. So let's take a look and or let's wait and see if that ends up happening here. Speaking of trade, the stream is sponsored by Trade the Pool. So if you need a prop firm, you need help getting over that 25K day trading threshold, or just need some more buying power, check them out. They can help you with that. Okay, really good stuff here on NVAX 13. I suspect, based on the chat and based on what we just covered here, this is going to be the primary watch of the day. So we'll see how.
They do have 108 million shares, just to keep that in the back of everybody's head. So it's not one of these super low floats that can get pushed around real easily.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the next one. Next one here is going to be ITOS. This is ITOS Therapeutics. ITOS Therapeutics shares are trading higher after the company announced $120 million registered direct offering and reported Q1 financial results. So this actually causing the stock to pop about 36% here. Looks like it's kind of stopping at this 17 handle. Has done a really good job holding all of these gains. So I'm encouraged for this for a potential trade. Same deal as NVAX here. I wouldn't be surprised if this traded down a little bit right out of the open. If that happens, maybe we'll end up getting some support there at the VWAP, and that can give us a tradable setup as well. If we lose the VWAP, we actually might trade down to this 1550-ish level, so keep your eye on that one as well. What do you have here on ticker ITOS 13?
This wasn't one that I noticed when I was making my list, but I'll tell you what I right now with this is that 120 million registered direct offering, that was at a stock price of $17.50 a share. So likely the reason why it traded up so much.
Yep.
Also, there's some pretty significant short interest here, 11.2%. They've got 7.78 days to cover. It has a float of just under 19 million. So not too difficult to move around, but there's those several things there that I mentioned are really helping push this stock up. So we could maybe get back above 17. This will be another one I watch to see what happens at the open.
Yeah, that's a good call there. One more thing here, 13. They also announced that they expect top-line data from one of their phase 1 trials in the second half of 2024. So they're basically telling you that starting pretty soon, there's a 6-month window where they're actually expecting some data. And that could drive the price of this stock again. So if you're looking to trade this, or if you're interested in this at all, to me, the next thing to do here would be to dive into the pipeline, see what they're trying to work on, and what kind of need that meets, and go from there. I don't have anything more specific on this data. If we hear headlines about that, I'm sure we'll check it out. But something else to consider here in a trade plan, especially if you do for more than just day trading.
And that this will probably end up trading down over time before we get that announcement of that the clinical trial data.
Indeed, and you might have an opportunity to get it there. Okay, Jonathan Cooper saying, I'm seeing a lot of biotech stocks on the scanner. Me too. I'm definitely seeing some of these biotechs gap up here today. So we'll see if that actually carries into the regular session as well, Jonathan. Love that you're looking for things and identifying patterns. That is really awesome. Okay, next here is going to be AEMD. This is Athlon Medical. We've traded this one a whole bunch here. This is having a really kind of a wild day here. I'd be careful with this one. Athlon, medical shares are trading higher after the company announced results from an in vitro binding study of its drug I can't pronounce and removing extracellular vessels from plasma. So, okay, seems to be a pretty big word salad there. This thing popped above 3 and pretty much retraced almost all of the move. We'll see if it ends up hanging on to this 150 level here. VWAP currently just above 2, so maybe if it bounces, we'll get a move back to the VWAP here. But I'm skeptical anytime I get one of these, or anytime I see one of these really huge rips where it retraces 80+% of the move. Generally speaking, I'm a little bit skeptical. I'd want to see this really give us a good opportunity before trading this. Do you have anything on AEMD today?
Yeah, so that hemo purifier, that's actually a device that is used for removing vesicles from cancer patient plasma. So this is a device that the news is on. They do have a 2.59 million share float. They did a reverse split last October, 1 for 10. I don't think that's really important, but I think the important takeaway here is they have a device that apparently is producing positive results. So that's going to be the big thing that's moving this today, is that device being successful in their studies.
Okay, we'll see if this ends up picking up. Do you like this one at all? You want to see how this trades first, don't you? I mean, this really kind of gave back a lot of its gains this morning.
Yeah, this one might actually be a little bit better out of the gate, because it's almost right back to where it was yesterday. Not too far away, actually. So we'll have to see what happens when it opens. But it looks like right now it's starting to turn around and try to make its way back up. I want to see if it can get back to VWAP that's at about 210.
Yeah, it is worth noting here, we did have one of these candles that kind of felt flushy, right? Looks like we kind of wicked down on some pretty good selling volume, and the buyers did end up holding it above that 150. So that, to me, right there, that's going to be the level to watch out of the open here, especially if we get a little bit more selling. Okay, good stuff there, 13. Next one here is going to be SRTS. This is Census Healthcare. Right, I think this might be a first. This might be a first for us. We're taking a look at some of these small stocks. Jay Rice saying this name is legit. All right. Well, we'll take that. We got a legit name off the mover scanner here this morning. Decent profitable quarter. Census Health shares are trading higher after following the company's better than expected Q1 financial results. Doing a fairly decent job holding 5 here. We actually had another spike up towards 6 in the pre-market this morning. That was sold back down to VWAP, but nice solid catalyst here. Smoke Tuna also saying SRTS had a great earnings call. They have lots of cash. So I actually haven't gone through that yet. That's really good news. What do you think here, 13?
Well, one of the other pieces of news that came in just before the earnings headlines is that the largest veterinary hospital in Tel Aviv acquired Census Healthcare's SRT-100 to provide greater radiotherapy to treat tumors in dogs and cats. Now, they didn't disclose financial terms, but again, more medical devices, just like as Smoke Tuna was saying. And this is going to be used for let's call it a noble cause. We do love our animals, don't we? So,
absolutely. I know I do. I'm definitely a softie when it comes to animals. No question about it. So
this is definitely right up that alley. It's supposed to provide gentler radiotherapy to treat the tumors in cats and dogs. They have a 14.84 million share float. No reverse splits that I could find. Short interest isn't special at all. This looks like this could be a good one. I just don't know how it's going to trade. This might be something I just end up watching until I see a setup. Okay.
Smoke Tuna saying SRTS only a day trade for him. So despite that, only a day trade. Okay, really good stuff there. Group, everyone. Okay, next one here is going to be LIDR. This is AI, as in AEYE. Okay. Yeah, I mean, what are they doing here? Okay, anyway, AI shares are trading higher after the company disclosed a partnership with Light-On Technology Corporation. So this popped as high as $2. Looks like it's bleeding here as the volume continues to increase. So too does the rollover. That tells me we really need to find some type of support level for this, whatever it is. So that's kind of what we're waiting on here. We're about 20 cents extended from the VWAP to the downside. We'll see if we can actually firm up here. This is the Light-On company here. AI and Light-On will work together to supply AI's foresight. I tell you what, they love using, this is the number 4, SIGHT. They love making bigger words out of just kind of smaller words, even in their company name. Foresight-based LiDAR products to automotive OEMs who are focused on safety through automotive advanced driver assistance programs. So looks like this is trying to, it doesn't specifically mention autonomous driving, but these are some of the systems that are used in autonomous driving. So I think that angle is here, even if they're not mentioning that outright here. So that's kind of what's going on here with ticker LIDR. We've seen this before. This stack has been in play before for news like that. You got anything on this one?
Well, Dad Joke, the company here, has a 5.62 million share float. They did a 1-for-30 reverse split last December on the 27th. So, nice way to wrap up the end of the year. Other than that, don't have a whole lot of data on this. That the LiDAR light sensing radar. We're not new to this. This is just a newer company that we haven't seen before. I think is the only difference between some of these other ones that we've traded before. I think. What is it? LAZR is another one that is in a similar space. So you have that. I think I don't want to say Microvision is. I thought they had an edge in LiDAR, but I could be wrong about that. Anyway, I don't have a whole lot more. That partnership is the big reason why it was moving this morning. And I just gave you the metrics that would help us determine if this is worth trading or not.
That's okay. Our community wants to add to it. Clean slate. Great to have you back here today, by the way. GM, well, LiDAR, I think this was only a letter of intent, not a commitment. I could be wrong, so be careful. When you actually open up the PR here, it actually says today announced that a non-binding letter of intent announced in March with Light On Technology Company, and it's intended to provide AI with customer channel. Okay, so really good stuff there, clean slate. We're gonna watch that. We'll see. The letters of intent here have actually driven stocks before. It's not necessarily a guarantee, so we want to take advantage of that if that is in fact what happens. But really good mention on that. We'll see if this ends up getting going. We actually have several really good candidates here today. So if this thing doesn't really work out or doesn't really perform the way that we expect, that's okay. We're going to have other opportunities here. All right, next one here is going to be WISA, although this isn't loading for me. We'll go to Sound and I'll see if I can figure out what's wrong with WISA. Here's SoundHound. This ripped yesterday after reporting earnings. It's doing a really good job holding those gains and actually looks like it wants to take that high out. I have that high here at 569. Nice. We'll see if this can actually break out of that 569 area and go higher. If we take a look at the daily chart here, this is totally curling off of 4, and we have a range up to 10 recently from some of the crazy moves in SOUN. So what are you thinking here on SoundHound?
Yeah, great earnings. There were some comments by it says Top Boss, talking about how there's been a big shift into the desire to have more of their types of systems. Let me get the exact quote they were talking about here, because it does seem like this is going to keep going here. It says, Top Boss says, voice AI fast becoming a must-have tool. I'm really starting to see that, especially with all these different websites and online tools are starting to provide. And I also think that with Buffett's comment about scams, we're going to need something that's going to be able to detect if someone speaking is actually legit to them, talking, or if it's just an AI voice over, where it takes somebody else's voice, makes them sound like somebody else. We're already seeing that technology in a lot of, memes and videos and whatnot. So absolutely, I think that what he said is that it's becoming a must-have tool, not just for verification purposes, but for security reasons as well.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. Real quick shout out to whoever made the Jerome Powell video with the AI voice, where that was hysterical. That one was absolutely hysterical, and I'm glad that we were all around to see that. One of the other things that I saw here this morning, 13, I was actually kind of scrolling through Twitter while I was watching CNBC this morning, and I noticed that someone made a post that there is a completely AI movie coming out this year. I think it's a rom-com too. So I struggle to think of something that's going to be worse than this, but the initial reaction, not great. Right. Not great to that. The replies in the tweet, the comments on everything. It doesn't look like this is what people want, but this is the way things are going. So it'll be interesting to see how these stocks actually play with that. This one here, right here, this actually looks like this is breaking out. In fact, just as far as a trade plan goes, we break out above these highs. I think the first thing is going to be 560, but that high from yesterday is going to be in play. And then if it breaks down, I think we got 540 on the downside here.
Yeah, I had a comment, but I forgot what it was. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Okay. Let's see if WISA wants to load here. What is going on with my 1 minute chart on WISA? I don't know why I can't chart this. I should be able to I can in my broker, and I should also be able to in the Trade the Pool software. Yeah, so we'll just cover WISA when I jump over there. We've seen this stock a whole bunch. I don't know if there's anything new that we need to go into it. And then the last one here is go ahead.
I could tell you what the news is on it.
Yeah, I can do that too. Let's just cover SGBX here. We'll finish off with WISA, and I'll flip over to that in the Trade the Pool broker. So here, SGBX, this is Safe and Green Holdings. We've traded this one recently. It looks like it is back here. Safe and Green shares are trading higher after the company announced its contract with the government contractor increased by roughly $1 million to construct 11 additional military office containers. I feel like I read that wrong. Are trading higher after the company announced its contract with a government contractor. No, I hit that right on the head. Okay, anyway.
Imagine that.
Yeah, that's weird. So basically increased by $1 million to construct 11 new military office containers. That's popping the stock here. The initial pop is much higher than where we're holding here, holding about plus 11%. The other pop earlier took us as high as $6.50. So another $1.40 from where we're at here. You got anything on SGBX?
659,000 shares in the float. Very easy to move this one around. That's because they just did a 1-for-20 reverse split last week on the 2nd. So that's going to make this one pretty exciting, I think, if we start to get that volume to push that low float around it.
Okay. So let's talk here about WISA. You know what I think? How much time do we have? We got 3 minutes here, so I think this is what we can do. We can do this, and then this, and now here is WISA. So let's go ahead and do this. So here we go. Here's your chart here for WISA. We did have a PR yesterday that announces CTEC announces MOU with WISA Technologies to integrate WISA E. So it looks like this is just a continuation from yesterday.
To me, I saw that this was they were going to the CTEC was going to integrate WISA with their audio devices.
Yeah, so that was from yesterday morning, and okay. I'm wondering here if we just have some continuation on WISA. I know that this was some FinTwit pumps, so maybe, and I didn't see anybody tweeting about that this morning, but maybe that's what's kind of juicing it up here today. Let me know if you folks saw anything about WISA out there. Sydney says she out of it, out of WISA. We've traded that one a lot. Where's WIS when we need him? Oh, it's Friday. WISA's probably on the golf course. Well, okay, he's doing it correct. But I know that he's been trading WISA quite a lot recently. So anyway, that one's gearing up here. We'll see if that gives us an opportunity here today.
Hopefully it does. If you look at the daily chart, this thing has been rolling over for the past week. And I'm not sure that the downside is finished yet. Maybe when we get closer to about 225, but I don't know about today.
WISA here. We got plenty of other really good opportunities to trade here. So I don't really think that I'm going to go after WISA at all today. What else do you? There's WIS. I'm here. I haven't ever traded WISA, haha, but I have watched it. Oh man, I'm sorry. I thought that you were trading that quite a bit. Almost shares your namesake. Okay, you guys are saying that NVAX is popping. That is definitely play du jour so far. So here we go. NVAX looks like it took out 10. I'm really curious to see what the opening print is on this one.
It's really trying to get pushed down here. I saw that it was above 10, and a big order came in and forced it back down underneath, and now we're back above 10 again. So seems like this level here at about let's call it 1020. That seems like that's the big level to get over based on this price action we've had in the pre-market this morning.
Okay. All right, so we are not going to have to wait very much longer. 30 seconds until we open here.
Good timing.
What's that?
Good timing.
Yeah, it is. It is pretty good timing. We did pretty well here this morning. This is a good omen for a Friday. So really quickly here again, just based on what we've seen so far in the pre-market, the big movers for me are going to be NVAX and SOUN. Good luck to everybody out there. Let's make some money on a Friday. We're about to open.
David Lynn's right. Rest had a 1 for 50 reverse split a while ago. All right, let's go. And NVAX is whipping around.
Lost 10 right away, but it's trying to hold in there.
Yeah, a lot of big old amount of orders, especially at 10:10, just came in and just pushed it right down. Big order bid at 961. Sally's saying Enbridge. Take a look at Enbridge. It's one of my midstreams.
Still waiting. NVAX, a little bit of pull out of the open. This is kind of what we expected. I'm also watching SOUN on another chart here. SOUN is popping out of the gate. So unless you were in that and you're selling into this move, I'm waiting for a setup. Looks like it actually already came back in. Here we go on Sound. All right.
All right, I'm gonna look through these.
So you're right, Kingdom Lamb. That's a really good call. That little push, even though we sold back here, we did end up breaking that high here on SOUN.
EMD. This is the one that was already beaten up. We were looking for this to kind of go positive at the beginning. It's kind of doing that right now. This was the one that had the hemopurifier device.
Yeah. Yep.
So
good morning,
good so far.
It's great to see everyone here this morning. SOUN. This is deciding its next direction right now. Sure seems like it anyway. Big seller came in there, 569. Big seller driving this back down. That was the same spot as yesterday, wasn't it? Yes, it was. So watch this 569 spot. Let's see if we take that huge size there that was just brought in. Looks like a refresh seller.
That was a pretty good. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say we took a little bit of it when we tested it right there, but barely made a dent.
That was a pretty good call. Whoever said that there was I think it might have been Voodoo that said there was a big order in NVAX at 961. Look at this. Look at that. It came right down to there, got picked up right in that area, and now we are flying. Great call.
There you go. So that was it. That was that little dip and rip right there, right to that.
Great call.
Right to that.
And it looks like AEMD had a good old pop and then came right back in.
NVAX going for its highs here.
Juicy. And LIDR, that one had it seems like it had a little bit of a down move out of the gate, and then it just ripped. So that one's coming up to VWAP. It'll be there soon.
Here's your pullback on NVAX.
Yep. And
here's your pullback on NVAX.
That was a great trade.
I'm going to try some right here for a potential bounce off that pull.
SRTS, just a big old knife out of the gate. SoundHound, you guys were mentioning that one. That had a pop over my 575 level all the way up to 585 and came back.
SoundHound looks like it's trying to gear back up to go higher here. 563. I'm watching that on another chart here. All right, let's see if NVAX can retake 10 here. That would be a really good start. If it can't, that actually gives me worry for this particular trade. Not a whole lot of size here at 10, but we want to see that move through. Volume drying up here, so that's also kind of concerning. We'll see if we can get another 10 test there. If we don't, we'll probably wait for another setup here on NVAX. I don't necessarily need to hold through this. This thing's up considerably here today.
Yeah, and SoundHound is starting to come down some more because we have a really large order at 569 of 400K, and that seems to have scared a few of these buyers out of get into a position here. So we're going down in SoundHound right now. Maybe we'll have to wait until that kind of clears out or gets taken out.
Yeah, I see that here. NVAX with a pretty big pull there. Buyers bought it back, but still looking at that 10 level, that's really going to tell the story here. Looks like they increased some size there at the 10 level. If we take that here, we should pop. But we'll see. The little bit of weak hands already. The last time we tested this, they pulled it right off. I see ITOS being mentioned. I do want to check that one out. I felt pretty good about that one this morning. Here's 10 on NVAX. They took about half of it there, maybe a little bit less than half of it, but they're hitting it for real. So we'll see if we can get rolling here above 10. This is the breakout that I want to see.
Nice.
Well, we need to get it first. I haven't got it yet. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I want to see a move through 10 here. NVAX 901 bid was pulled to Goldman at 976. Okay. So it looks like we tried again there at 10 on NVAX. Here we go. We're going to try. Oh, they added more size here at 10 and right through, and we will close that out for some
Hell
gains.
yes.
There we go. Okay, so that's 1 for 1 here today. We're going to come back. I don't think this is done. While that was happening, I dangerously took my eyes off. But while that was happening, sound off that dip is now ripping. So another dip and rip here. This one on SOUN.
Yeah, and ITOS. I was just trying to put in some levels. It's having a really good day.
Yeah, tried to take that next leg up here. I wonder if it does that.
Yeah, so this seems like it's coming up into a supply zone I have here between 18 and 1830. So we get we might see some resistance, maybe a reversal up at that area. But if we can get the VWAP to catch it, or if it doesn't break down beneath 15, we could return to that later on today. I'm just going to wait on this one. I think the move in ITOS might be in for the moment.
Okay. SOUN, but while that we're talking about that, SOUN trying to go for the highs here. 585, your intraday high. Their size there and at 590. We'll see if that ends up getting taken.
SGBX also getting mentioned. That one's making its way back up to VWAP. Now we're going to want to see SoundHound hold over 575 here. And then if we do, we get some closes over that on, like, let's say the 5-minute chart. I think that we'll probably end up seeing 650 or a push towards that. So far right now, nothing but wicks.
Okay. Yeah, I'm actually still keeping an eye on NVAX as well. I brought it up in one of my other charts here, and I happened to notice that the 10 call has got some pretty good option flow going in there.
It just broke through a big old order and it went higher.
Is that NVAX?
NVAX, yeah.
Okay, so just as we suspected here, this one's not dead.
No, this thing is
not done yet, I should say.
Yeah, this thing's doing pretty good. Maybe when we get to some of these other big sell order walls, like at the 1080 area here, I'm starting to see these asks really start to fill up.
Yeah, here's that 1070. I see some pretty decent size there. What I'm waiting for here in NVAX now is going to be a pullback. I think we got to get one at some point. I got no problem waiting this out. In the meantime, SoundHound holding up here at 580. It is holding that 575 level so far, 13. Actually, they just brought in a huge bid on that to hold it above there. I actually think this one might go higher here.
Look at all these winners. Look at these winners in chat here. This is great.
They pulled it right through there. Am I behind? Do I owe some register rings and some Mario one-ups from people? Okay, here we go. Jane, nice trade there on NVAX. Out 1078. Big move there. SoundHound still holding here at that 575. That big bid that they brought in got hit and filled.
DJT knifed at the open, and now it's trying to come back up. 55 is the target we're looking for with this one.
This one looks like a possible 55 breakout on deck here for DJT. This move through the VWAP and a reclaim on some decent volume sets that up nicely. We'll see if that materializes. Still looking at sound here. This is having trouble holding on to that 570. Looks like they brought in another, they brought in another offer right under that 575 level at 573.
Yeah, either NVAX is going to break into 11, or I'm wrong, or it's going to come back in and give us another opportunity to reset.
Frank, love this. If NVAX gets to 14 today, I'm coming to Detroit on Monday. Frank, if you can hold off until Wednesday, I'll be there to meet you and give you a pat on the back, IRL, as they say.
I think somebody was asking about Palantir earlier, and I don't know if there was any.
Yeah, the sun came up today, so I'm sure somebody asked about Palantir.
I was just wondering because it traded down out of the gate here, so I was just wondering if that was something we were going to be interested in covering or not. But.
Yeah, we absolutely we will. I like Palantir, and now that I actually traded that pretty well prior to its earnings, I didn't get the earnings continuation I was looking for, but otherwise traded it pretty well. It's now time to start stocking maybe small ads for a long-term position.
Hey, you know what filled the or is on its way to filling the gap?
Look at this. Armour's account because he's playing Zim, and Zim is absolutely ripping. Let's go, Armour. We love to hear that.
I was just about to mention it. Just about to mention the fact that Zim is filling that gap. Interestingly enough, it has actually found
Man, oh,
resistance. It has found resistance right at the top of this trend line that I had. Right? So basically, if you go to like a daily chart, you can see how in January and I guess February 1st, we were putting in these, we were kind of top wicking. You draw a trend line across the top of those wicks, keep going to where we're at today. You see that that's where we came up to resistance. But the gap is supposed to fill at 1736. So we might get a little bit pop over that and then come back in. This move is very, very extended. So I do expect that there will be some pullback at some point very soon.
SOUN here. This again, buyers taking it back up to this 585 level. And I'll tell you something else here. I'm actually gonna take a little bit right here just in case this goes without me. But now I want to increase the size in case this pulls back for a potential add. I'll be a little bit. I'll tend to hang on to this a little bit longer, given that we've already booked some gains here today. I think Sound goes through this 584, 585 level. If it does, we'll add on the way through that.
Somebody was asking me a question.
Yeah, it was about T-Bio. It was Rick. Rick, good morning. Great to see you, man. Did you take that reverse split on T-Bio the other day?
If I'm going to play reverse split, I don't want to get into it before it reverse splits. So no, I didn't. I'm waiting to see if this area that it's trading into is going to hold. We did the reverse split. I announced the reverse. I didn't announce it. I told you when the reverse split was going to happen, but I didn't want to get into it yet because you don't want to get into a company that's reverse splitting ahead of the reverse split. I don't think that's a great idea. Right now, it's holding above 5, and that's good news. So I want to this needs to get noticed. That's the thing with these reverse splits. Sometimes they don't get noticed right away, but the big boys do come in once the reverse split happens, and they really start to push it up. Just look at all these other ones that are recently reverse splitting and pushing this up. But it's not on the same day. Sometimes not the same day after. I'm just waiting for this to start to get noticed. It seems as though that about the just above the 5 level is a pretty good support area. So I'm just kind of waiting. I'm not in this yet, though.
Aramis mentioning NVAX, big pull here. That pull is actually back to the VWAP. That actually might set up another trade here. SOUN right back to that fight. We actually took it. All be darned. We took that by only 2 cents. I got more size here at 590.13. I think this is one of the levels that you initially mentioned was that 590. So here we go. We went through it. I actually did not have a chance to add there. Bummer.
No, that's not a level for me. 575.
Okay.
No, 575 was the level we needed to get over and hold, so we could get up to over 6, up to 650. 650 is the next upside target I have, and it looks like right now the big wall to get over is going to be between $5.95 and $6.
Yep, 590 was taken. 592, your intraday high. 595, as outlined by 13. The next big size spot that it needs to take there.
LIDR is kind of ripping right now.
There's 590 and 592 up again here on Sound. Let's see what happens at 6. We have some pretty decent size there at 6.
And NVAX did pull back like we were looking for. I think we may have missed the opportunity at this point because it looks like it did find support and is trying to turn around. So a little bit late there on my part to let you guys know that this pullback we were looking for has happened. Not sure if this is a good spot to reload or not, but it does look like it's trying to get back up to where it was before this knife.
Yeah, you might get another test there of that VWAP as well. That might happen here again. By the way, I was just kind of flipping around looking at what some other traders are talking about here. Look at Micron today. I actually didn't even look at this until right now. I got 3 time frames up here. I got a daily, an hourly, and a 3-minute, and this looks good on all time frames right now. Micron trading out of the gate on volume here. Actually looks like it's going to go back towards some of its highs. We have those up there at 127. The hourly chart looks really good. It looks like this 121.50 area is about to get tested here. Micron looking decent. While I'm talking there, SoundHound continuing to push higher here. 597. Your new intraday high. We're still waiting for a test of that 6 spot here on SoundHound. Unfortunately, I don't have enough shares.
Zim filled the gap, traded a little bit higher, and so at this point, it can do whatever it wants. It can go to the 500-day SMA if it wants to. It can turn around and pull back, which I think would be better. But at this point, the whole trade thesis in this one is now over. The whole gap fill thing was the big move I was looking for. That's happened. At this point, I would just wait to see if this comes back and gets support from 1550. That's Zim. So great job if you guys made money on that. This was an awesome play over the first few months of the year. Great job if you made money on this.
Is that Zim?
Yes,
Is
absolutely.
that Zim? Awesome.
Zim.
Great job. Really quickly, Zippity Doodah is saying Joel is hand walking down the freeway in Detroit if NVAX exceeds 14. Well, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say I hope that doesn't happen because I've been on that freeway, and if he's hand walking down it, we are going to lose Joel. And that would be a worse off world if we lost Joel. So hopefully that doesn't happen here. That would be crazy. I might have to go and just make sure he stays safe. Joel's a really good guy. By the way, Sally, good morning. Sally, I'm Oost is now your stock. Ooster, this might as well be Sally Inc. because you have been on this for what feels like months. This is a huge move here. We had a nice little drift up in the after hours in the pre-market pop here on volume. Look at this. Look at this pop above this this recent high here. We've got an island formed here. This is absolutely awesome. You're trading here on Oost. So really, really good stuff. It is on a roll. Keep it up. We're going to give you both the register ring and the Mario one up. You know what? You probably also need the Jaws one too, don't you? Let's figure that out. I can't remember which one it is.
Christoph, I think he's taken off. Have a good weekend. By the way, DJT up above 55, and now
you're going to need a bigger boat for those gains, Sally. Let's go.
Boatloads. But yes,
loads.
DJT is making new highs as we speak.
Did that break out from 55 on DJT?
Not only did it break out, it came back into 55 and got support from that level, and now it's coming back off of that.
Perfect trade there. Okay, here's the pullback in SoundHound. This is what I was hoping for. Okay, let's see if we can actually get back down to VWAP. That way my puny small size position can get added to dollar cost average, and then hopefully we get the next leg up here on Sound. So when I do this, I've tried to do this a few times, and every time, because I'm trying to talk and flip around to different stocks, I end up missing it. And so that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to not miss this. I actually might place some orders here.
ITOS might be topping out. Here is the second candle to get sort of rejected. It's not done yet, but it's in the process of not being able to get over 1771 like it was trying to out of the gate. So
here is ITOS. Okay.
Yeah. Just kind of putting it out there. It's slowing down. We're putting out similar highs, and it's not breaking through. So I would be careful here.
It got that move right out of the gate where it kind of took that range out, came right back in. Now it's testing it again. To me, this actually has a new range that we need to take out. 1779, it looks like, or 1770.
Yeah.
Beck's mentioning CNDA. We got another mover here. No, that can't be. Did I get the thing right? CDNA? That can't be it. I think this is it. CDNA, big move here out of the gate, right below 13, almost up to 15. This actually doesn't look like it's trading on a ton of volume either. ADMA had a revenue beat. Is that moving here today? Indeed, it is.
And guide. Yep, the guide I think is what also helped along very nicely. I also have some short interest too, 12%.
So ARM having a good day. I think Jay's Life was mentioning this one earlier. ARM and AMD. Actually, both of these charts look pretty good. That goes along with the Micron. Look at Micron higher from that earlier. 121.50 now. Micron all time frames look great here on Micron.
Okay. This is just tell me what you're thinking here with Micron going up. It seems like Nvidia is on a tear as well.
Q's at the highs. I mean, the whole thing going.
And we have PPI and CPI next week. So are you thinking, as I am right now, that we're just trying to push this up, and then either at the end of the day we're going to just see major profit taking, or maybe that happens Monday?
Well, I've thought there's going to be profit taking and moves down multiple times, and I've been made to look like a moron about that. So I'm not sure. 13. Yeah, I think we probably could. I mean, let's see what happens with that. I don't think inflation is completely under control. And maybe if you get a bad print there, tech is the first to react to it.
Oh, I would think it has to be.
Yeah.
It's the one that's been running the most. It's been just absolutely bonkers.
Here we go on Sound. We want to see a VWAP hold here. Even if this pulls beneath the VWAP, I wouldn't be too pissed about that if it holds and recaptures it. This should give us an opportunity to add to this position. And then if we get that next leg up, we should be in real good shape.
Palantir might be finding a bottom. We'll have to see if that's what's happening here.
Jesse, good morning, Jesse. Ryan, NVAX was a huge mover for me. Money, if you remember, I got in at 409,
Nice.
sold at 1050, holding 10% of the original position. This is how it's done, folks. That's over 100% gain.
Great success.
Great success. We're going to also give you the cash register ring there. And you've kept a trailer on to keep yourself exposed. Jesse, this is how it's done. Congratulations, dude.
That was
you guys
great,
saved
Jesse.
all your great stuff here for Friday. I absolutely love it. We're going to go out with a bang this week.
Now, Wisdom, that's my cousin.
Going out with a bang this week. All right, so Sound broke through that VWAP here. What we're looking for is a possible reclaim of this VWAP. Earlier, I was disappointed that I had a small position size. Now I'm grateful that that's the case as this continues to trade in here on Sound. Big knife here, giving everything back. Let's see if it holds this low. I've got that at 545.
Things getting weak. DJT now below 55 again.
Things are getting weak here.
ITOS did come back in a little bit. It's got support from VWAP. Maybe there's another attempt here to get above 1771. LIDAR, LIDR, that one's up through VWAP, and looks like it's moving higher or trying to. Maybe in a little bit, we might even get a push over the highs I put in the regular session, which I have at about 180.
First ad here on SOUN. Actually, they're bringing in a big offer there on SOUN. They took it and flipped it to a bid. That's what I want to see. Let's see if we can bounce here, reclaim that VWAP. We'll add on a VWAP reclaim if we get it. And then if this just completely reverses and breaks down, now that we've started to add, we can cut it, wait for a better setup. I feel like I've focused on this perhaps a little too much. Let me take a look and see what the rest of you folks are looking at here. SRTS.
Do you have a stop ready for Sound?
No. Should I get one, you think?
I'm thinking that it would be a good idea. I'm looking at the MACD. And
yeah, here's what I'm going to do, dude. I'm going to make this real easy. We're going to stop right below day low here. Okay. So we're going to
a nice move up just now.
We're going to do this. We're just going to stop right here. This is where it consolidated at before.
Yeah. It just seems like the volume's kind of going away. The MACD's a little bit curling over. Maybe if you had a stop in there just above your cost, you might just still be able to get away with no loss.
I'm below my cost. So you're talking about my second ad? That
oh, okay.
Yeah, that's okay though, because here we go. If we reclaim this, I'm going to add again, and then I'm actually going to sell into a move. So 570 is the VWAP here. We're only a couple of cents away. We'll see if we can take that out. Then 575 is actually where my position's at. More size there. We'll see.
CXAI.
CXAI. Yeah, there's a couple of mentions there. I read them all at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
And my mouth was like, was paralyzed there. CXAI, big move here. Don't see entry on this. Big move there, though.
No, but it looks like it wants 4.
Here's SOUN right back at the VWAP.
Oh, that was a good one.
I'm going to add here. Just another 100. And you know what else now? We're actually going to move this stop up as well.
That's right.
Because now if we fall out of here, we're just going to stop and we're going to keep these losses as small as possible. Okay, let's see if we bounce from here. 575, the next spot to take out on SOUN. Jaywalker, good morning. Haven't seen you in the
Hey.
Goodbye, LIDAR. Let's take a look here. LIDR did just lose the VWAP here, but it's holding in so far. Doesn't look terrible.
Well, those upper shadows look terrible.
Okay, fair enough. SRTS put in an upper shadow right at the VWAP. Speaking of shadows.
Yeah.
Remember, shadows normally stay in front or behind, never on top.
Yeah. SRTS does look better than the other one we were just talking about, LIDR. Sorry.
NVAX looks like it's curling here as well on NVAX. You might get another opportunity here in NVAX. Sound right back at that VWAP at 570.
Maybe. SRTS does just look a little bit better. The MACD is curling a little bit better than whatever one you were just looking at, SoundHound. The SoundHound one looks like it's about to roll over.
Yeah, SoundHound is slowing down here. There's no question about it. We're protected in case that happens with the stop. Now that's in, but we've seen these bounce before. This is still producing a higher low from when it opened. So trade's not over yet. We'll wait for it to actually fully exhaust itself.
Lion Atlas, I love that we're on the same thing. We just every day, FMC, let's go. It's a good one. It keeps getting good news too. So
what you're saying here is I should add FMC shares in my main account so I can continue to do this with you, right? That's what I'm gathering from you guys.
I am in FMC in both my long-term and trading account. My long-term account, because it pays a dividend, it's a strong company. It's in a space that's going to see, I think, at least 15% compound annual growth over the next 5 years. So I think there's a lot of good things for this particular space. Rates coming down also help it. But I'm just, I've been on this one for a while, and I think that we're going to see 100 in the future. That's one of the reasons for the long-term hold. I don't know how soon we get there.
No problem.
In the meantime, if you look at the chart, you can really grab some key support resistance levels.
This chart here. Let me bring it up here. I'll bring it up on the bigger chart as well. This chart looks like it's about. So first of all, this chart looks like it's about to break 68.50 and then break out. I did add some. So Lion Atlas and 13. Let's go. We're now a group of 3. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. FMC. Let's go right here. So anyway, here's the chart that we're taking a look at. Sorry, having a little bit of goofiness on a Friday. Here's the breakout spot that I'm talking about. Really, really good looking daily chart. Multiple closes above that 200-day. Actually looks like this really wants to break out from here. Really, really good spot. So long sum right here. Already green on that position. Not used to that. So way to go. Let's go, Lion Atlas and 13. Yeah, let's go.
Let's go. And I think Lion Atlas was also buying when it was bottoming out. It actually double bottomed around 50. I think it went slightly underneath that too, but 50 was a bottoming out level. So we double bottomed there, came back up. Needed my level that we need to get over personally is 66. We're above that now, and we're also going to be getting a golden cross in a matter of days. I'm not sure exactly how many, but the 50-day SMA is getting pretty close to crossing the 200-day SMA. So that's a good sign too.
Okay. Real good stuff there. SOUN, this is still holding in here, but this does look like this is going to move lower. The volume has really kind of fallen off. This is generally speaking what we try and avoid. Just a couple of cents away here from a potential stop out.
Yeah, and one last
really
thing
I was just going to say real quick, one of the things I might do, this chat has been so good, might just create a chat portfolio. Might just start buying what you guys are buying, sit on it, see how we do. If we really make some serious cash, might have to throw like a meetup somewhere. Stopped out, right, by the way, at SOUN. Like that, like just how awesome would that be? Like just a communal portfolio here of all the stuff that we're taking for long term. SOUN, we'll wait for that to firm up again. This one looks done.
Did you get stopped out positive though?
No, I got stopped out with a small loss, but I made money on the first day trade that I had. So that I was using that as kind of my buffer here.
Awesome. DJT getting up to the intraday high of 55.80, pretty close to breaking out there. One last thing about FMC is that I do trade around a position in my trading account with this one because it has had a lot of ups and downs since October. So just if you're going to be in this one, just be mindful that this thing will go up and down some more, maybe as we break out to new levels. So the next upside target I have is above 66 is 73. We get up there, we could see some selling at that point in the short term. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, this chart looking really good. Sally says, I like that idea, although we do trade a little trash at times. Well, I'll actively manage the trash. I'll make sure that I'm not holding on to trash long term. FMC is a quality company here, so we'll be able to hang on to that for a long time. Robert saying, I'll take PFE in the chat portfolio. I got to say, some of the stocks that I have a moral problem with buying will still apply to this portfolio. So there will be no Pfizer in that portfolio. I'm sorry.
And NVAX, we might get this move here. It's starting to push up. See a little bit more volume expansion, and we can.
Here we go.
We can get over 11, but it's still still need to expand some more than this.
I like sound long term if it's helping me order my spicy chicken sandwich. Okay, well said. Enough said. Evil DJ. I mean, that's spicy chicken. I totally get it.
I did see somebody mention INSG. That's in Seago.
That's a 5G play, by the way.
Yeah. This one had earnings, I believe.
SG getting multiple mentions in the chat. While you look up in Seago here, I'm going to bring up SG. This is sweet green. That's continuing to push higher here.
So they had good ER. They had good guidance. And that EPS, though, is just ugly. They're losing. They lost 40. I mean, it's better than what the estimate was. They lost 44 cents a share versus the 67-cent estimate. Still a lot to lose, but it seems like they're turning things around. It might be a good company later on down the line, and this is a good move for it. So we'll see what happens.
Boost continuing to push higher here. If this is an absolute winner, this one is hooked an absolute winner here on Oost.
Nice. MD, what's the rumblings about BAC? Before Ryan jumps in with his opinion on them.
No, I've given it to you plenty of times there. I don't need to do that again.
I've poken the bear.
No comment. None at all. Seeing some NVIDIA calls getting bought here. They're small size, but it's a little bit of option flow. Looks like they're buying them up at the VWAP here. NVAX pulled back down towards its VWAP.
ITOS has not been able to get back up to that 1771 area since we talked about it, but it is holding above VWAP, so it may not be done. Just something to point out there. Not suggesting anybody get into it, but just keep an eye on it.
Is GME like Voldemort in here or something? Ryan, do you have any of it in your portfolio? No, I would not consider it Voldemort. No, I of course do not own GME. I don't think that is a good fundamental hold action that took place in GME, but no, I'm not interested in that. All that meme stuff is not a trade thesis, in my opinion.
You can make trades off of those. We certainly saw we could do that.
Like buy and hold.
I agree with that. I don't think the GME is worth holding, and it's not something we're not going to talk about. We'll talk about it.
Folks, take a sorry to interrupt you here, 13 real quick, but take a look at Apple. Apple went ex-dividend today, if I'm not mistaken. Let me make sure that's the case. It did. Apple went ex-dividend today. You're seeing the sell-off to account for that. Let's see if the bottom's put in. If the market rips again, this actually might trade up and give you a trade. Sorry, 13, I didn't mean to run you over there.
No worries. Just was putting a cap on GME, and if it provides trades like it clearly has been doing that so far this month. I don't know what the news is or if there's anything that's on Reddit that's trying to push this up or not, but I really this isn't really something I'm interested in trading. I see that it has a high short interest, so I guess there's a squeeze thesis here.
Yeah, I mean the recent performance here has actually been decent in GME, right? We had a nice little impulse move that bull flagged. Now we've broken out of that bull flag, but I mean, like, there's so much subterfuge on this stock. There's so much stuff being said about this stock that just simply isn't true, and it affects it every single day. So generally speaking, when I come across a situation like that, I stay away from it. Doesn't mean that it's right or wrong. It just means that that's how it fits my risk profile.
And GME, I just don't really like the business model. So
neither do I.
That's just where I'm coming from, and I'm not trying to say don't trade the stock or do whatever you want.
Yeah, dude. If you're making bank off of it, awesome. You don't need somebody else to join you. That's no. Make your money, put it in your pocket, and do what you will with it. That's exactly what we're here for. And
if you're just bringing this idea to us, it's a fine idea. I do like the short interest on this, so it's interesting. It's just that we traded this last time it made big moves. I didn't get killed in it. I actually had a pretty good time, and I just didn't capture the hundreds and hundreds of dollars that it ran up to in 2021. So I missed out on that, but it was a fun trade. But I just don't think it's worth holding for the long term until I see something fundamental change with the company.
LiDAR maybe trying to break out of this 175 area. Is that about where it's at? Yep, 175 right there. Ticker LIDR. See if we can break that down.
So many tall wicks on the top there.
SRTS still struggling with its VWAP. I'd like to see that get ripped. Jay Rice saying, Jay Rice linking GME to AMC and Mullen. That tells you all you need to know right there. Fine, if you want to trade them, just don't invest in them. That's pretty much where I land, Jay.
Yeah, brick and mortar businesses of those nature just hasn't worked out. GME, brick and mortar, AMC, obviously brick and mortar. The big old theaters that even at one point there was a rumor that Amazon was going to be picking them up because they have so much potential retail space from those theaters that they have. I just don't know. Just trade them, but like you said, I wouldn't own them.
That Apple bounce so far so good after the ex-div bounce here on Apple. By the way, shout out to Benzinga Pro. If you ever want to look for some dividend strategies, let me show you something here real quick that we came across. So first of all, one of the things that you can do here in Pro, you can actually set up a scanner. Let me just go ahead and build this real quick and I'll show you. All right, you can set up a scanner here. Of course, you can click all and then search for dividend stocks, right? So if you want to search for high dividend yield stocks, we can do that. But here's something else we can do. We can actually search for the ex-dividend date. So what we can do, let's just come up with a hypothetical example, and let's start a scan for May 13th through May 17th. Now we're scanning for stocks that are going to go ex-dividend next week that pay out a dividend of more than 5%. Here's your list of stocks. So maybe this is something that you want to do for a potential dividend capture strategy, or maybe even a long-term move. You can do all of that stuff here in Pro with just a couple of clicks of a mouse. So it looks like the bounce here on Apple so far pretty good. We'll see if that holds up. Let me go back to trade the pool here.
Lion, I some of the tickers you've been giving us lately, they revolve a lot around mining and precious metals. Is this the play that you're on right now?
Seems like a theme.
Metals? Yeah, and because and here's a thought that I've been having with this. Are we seeing just steady increases in the valuation of gold and silver because we're just absolutely spiraling out of control with inflation, having interest payments exacerbate that? Is that maybe a metric to why we're seeing gold and silver rise so steadily? Just a thought.
I got somebody we can ask about gold and silver. You want to get to a real quick special guest?
Sure.
Throw some questions at him?
Sure.
You okay? You ready to go, special guest? Can I get a thumbs up in the back there? Boom. Boom. Happy Friday, Mark. Welcome back. How you doing today?
Good, man. How are you?
Hey,
I'm doing really good. Did you hear the discussion that we were just having about gold and silver and a potential theme there?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I don't know what they say, inflation is 2.8%, 3%, whatever. Anyone who's been to the grocery store lately knows it's a lot higher than that. You know what I mean? And yeah we're seeing it in copper prices, gold prices, silver prices. I just think as it's just a result of government overspending.
Yeah, I'm with
your
you there.
basic,
It's
like your monetary inflation, right? See, here's the thing: the Janet Yellen and Jerome Powell. I'm giving away my age here, right?
I was like, blast from the past there, Mark. Janet Reno, here we go. Anyway, though, I make
I'll
that
have
mistake
to
all the time.
get a
I kid.
Seinfeld reference in here too at some point.
Oh, let's go. I'm all for Seinfeld references.
All right, cool. So maybe they should start doing the opposite of whatever they want to do, and we won't have inflation, like George Costanza, right?
Yeah, do the George Costanza method. If everything you're doing is wrong, then the opposite must be right.
That's funny. He goes up to the girl. He's like, "I'm unemployed and I live with my mother," and she pushes
Hello.
out the chair. Sit down.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. All serious. All kidding aside. Well, I think this is our one of our main problems is that Janet Yellen, Jerome Powell, they are what we call Keynesians. They follow the economic teachings of John Maynard Keynes, who was this British brilliant economist back in like the 1920s and 30s. Now, they focus on what an economist would call the demand side, which basically just means the consumer. So when they see interest rates moving higher, they think, oh, this must be transitory. The economy is heating up. The economy is doing well, which makes interest rates go up. When interest rates get high enough, that'll slow the economy down, right? Basic thinking. They don't pay attention to the money supply. The monetarists, the Milton Friedman school, talk about how inflation is because of the money supply. Now, let's just think about this. Let's pretend you have this like closed economy and you got $100 and you got 100 goods. Well, those goods are going to end up costing $100. Now, if the government comes along and puts another $100 in that economy and there's still 100 goods, those goods are going to end up costing 200. All right. So that's monetary inflation. Now, people listening to me might be saying, Mark, how is it? You got to be crazy. These people can't be that myopically focused. Well, I will tell you this. After the housing market blew up back in the late, 2008, 2009, whenever it was, after that was all over, and I remember it very well, it was a scary time.
Me too.
Congress did their big investigation as to what happened and so forth and so on. And one of the things they said attributed it to is that Alan Greenspan spent too much time trying to follow the teachings of Ayn Rand, the person who wrote When Atlas Shrugged. So, I don't know what it is, how these people can get so myopically focused. One of the big trades that we first made when the trading school first came was this ETF, which I can show you, symbol is DPC, and it's designed to track inflation. So one of the things that we do is the first of every month, the ISM numbers come out. And one of the things that they show in the ISM report, they track all of these commodities, probably 100 different commodities. So it was either September and October of 21 or October and November of 21. I don't remember, but 2 months in a row, every single commodity they followed was up. There wasn't a single one that was down or hadn't changed. So you don't need to be a Nobel Prize winning economist to say like, oh, inflation is like getting out of control over here. I first started talking about inflation a long time ago, because when copper prices had really started to move up. But it's really, it's baffling. I've been doing this a long time, and it's just baffling to me that sometimes these people seem to miss like what should be pretty self-evident. But anyway, so that's my take on inflation.
What do you see for this market here? We actually just had one of our chatters here saying that the Michigan sentiment was a miss, thus the pullback here. 13 and I were kind of discussing here at the beginning, we're really kind of looking for this market to pull back in. It seems to trade like it wants to go for new highs here. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think the next move is going to be? Or better yet, what do you think the next tradable move is here for the broader market?
I think that the financial sector is really going to run the show, I think, over the next couple of weeks. Should I bring up a screen here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, cool. All right, let me just show you something. All right. So one of the things that I like to do is track the sector. So I'm just going to bring up the SPY ETF fact sheet, which SSGA.com, State Street Global Advisors. That's the firm that runs this. And you can go and you look at the holdings, and you can see the sectors. All right. So different sectors are in the driver's seat at different times. These little guys, real estate, utilities, materials, they're so small, they don't really affect the broader markets. Energy is small, but it can affect the broader markets. And consumer staples is small, but sometimes money flows into consumer staples right before the broader market's about to go south. It's your classic flight to safety. So if we go and we look at these financials, I'm going to bring up the ETF, XLF. This is the financial sector ETF. Okay. There tends to be resistance at former peaks. And that's exactly what happened here. This peak was back in January of 22. And we just got back there in March and April, and we hit resistance there. So that's because there's people who bought at the peak back here who have been underwater ever since, and they can finally get out at break even, and they're going to. So they try to. So we sold off of this. We sold off of the resistance. Sometimes when you get to resistance, you sell off because some of the people that want to sell start to sense that other sellers are coming into the market, and they're afraid they're going to miss out. So they reduce the prices they're willing to sell at. And this is why sometimes you sell off of resistance. So right now we're right back up here. So I think what's going to happen here over the next couple of weeks will probably give us an indication of what's going to happen over the next couple of months. In other words, if we break this resistance and we start moving ahead, then I think we're going to go into another pretty big up leg. If we fail at the resistance, then that I think is going to bring the broader market down. Now, if we look within the financial sector, what's in control of the market is the financial sector, and what is in control of the financial sector is this banking industry. So this is the bank ETF. Actually, sorry, that's the wrong one. KBE is the symbol.
And I have another question about an
Yeah.
ETF here for you when you're done with this.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So anyway, so I think what we're going to see here, right? This is another classic example. We get to resistance and we sell off. We get to resistance and we sell off. We get to resistance. It looks like we're breaking through, but I would say it's a little too soon to know. Yeah, there's a question about an ETF.
Yeah, Jay here was asking, ask Mark about the move in utilities.
Oh, I
Is
see,
this
utilities.
a warning sign? So that's going to be XLU.
Yeah. 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 You know, we've been looking at this, and it's kind of hard to understand what's going on here. I mean, utilities generally don't trade like this. So let's see how overbought they are. This indicator down here is what we call the RSI momentum indicator, and it measures how far we've moved in 14 time periods. So, all right, so the last time XLU was this overbought was August 22, and that was right up here, right? So right at this top, and it didn't actually quite get there. It's real close, but if we just want to be technical, the last time utilities were as overbought as they are now was back in January of 20. And that's when the market was really soaring. And then, of course, the crash came because of COVID, but the market was pretty primed to go lower anyway. So even if COVID didn't happen, I still think it would have gone down. It wouldn't have gone down as much or as quickly. But I mean, I got to think that this is just something where I would be looking at for a reversal. I mean, a lot of times people buy bonds if interest rates are going lower. People that buy utilities generally buy them for the income, for the dividends. So if they can get better yields in the bond market, they're going to sell their utility stocks and they're going to buy bonds. So a lot of people have been buying utilities, and I mean, interest rates have been kind of trending a little bit higher, but I don't know what's going on here. But I do know this: there's a really good chance there's some kind of a reversal here. So we could play, start to thinking about put buying. And I like to think about my trades as I have something that's called a setup, I have a trigger, and I have my exit strategy. All right. The setup is like, say you're at a race, and then the starter's like, on your mark, get set. It could be a setup like this. It's so overbought. I think it's set up. There's a good chance that this has an imminent reversal. So that's my setup. All right. This is get ready, get set, but the go hasn't happened yet. What could the go possibly be? The thing that actually makes me call up the broker and say, all right, place this trade. Well, one trigger could be if this blue line, the RSR line, starts to turn down, because that'll show us that the overbought conditions are kind of chilling out and the market's going back to neutral. When the market's going up, it's out of there's not enough supply to fill all the demand. So the buyers have to get really aggressive here, and they get emotional. And you can see here, you tend to get really powerful buying at two different times: the beginning of a trend and the end of a trend. Because the beginning of the trend is what we could call the smart money, and you see how this gapped up. Then there's people that are on the sidelines waiting and waiting and waiting for the price to come down. Finally, they can't take watching it anymore, and they throw in the towel and they go in there and they just buy it regardless of the price. So this price action there too is the type of action that typically happens at the end of a trend. Now, of course, if this reverses, or another thing that's just a pretty simple trigger would be a break of the uptrend line. I mean, uptrend lines and downtrend lines they're not like support and resistance. I look at them as like they're like a visual reference aid. If you just think about it, how a chart is recorded. Pretend this is like 100 years ago, and at the end of the day, you got to take out your paper and you record your chart. Well, the prices are going up. They're going up. You get a bunch of days where we go sideways. What happens? It crosses the trend line. So it's like a wake-up call. It's not necessarily saying there's a trade here, but it's saying like, hey, I'm not going up anymore. I'm going sideways, which might be the first step or the first thing to happen before I start going down. So now a way you can look at this is, of course, you could trade here on the XLU, but you can go back up to the State Street website and you can see which stocks are in the utility sector. Because by definition, the XLU is follows like all the stocks. It's the aggregate of everything that's in the utility sector. So just by definition, there's going to be stuff that reverses more and there's going to be stuff that reverses less. So this is a list of the companies. These are just the top 10. So this is this is a way that we tend to find trading ideas. If it looks like there's a sector that's going to make an imminent move, we look within the sector for things that look like they're going to move the most. Like if we go back to the financials and say like the financials do start to roll over. I mean, look at how jacked up Goldman Sachs is here.
Are you positioning for any of this?
So maybe this is the place.
Sorry, we got a huge delay here. I'm sorry.
Am I
for
positioning
interrupting
for
you.
this? No. Oh no, that's okay. No, I'm not really positioned on anything here, but I'm not on any of these. But I'm waiting for that XLF to see what happens. And for those of you who aren't traders, you can get one of these inverse ETFs with this Drexon, which is a friend of Benzinga. So this ETF is designed to move in the opposite direction of the financial sector by about 3 times as much. So some of our students don't trade options, but they like to trade these ETFs. Some of our students trade options and these leveraged ETFs. So, I mean, if you get the on the right side of the trade here, you're using leverage by having an option and you're trading a leveraged product. So you could get some pretty serious returns if you're on the right side.
All right, Mark, we do need
NDAX. Well, isn't that a deal stock?
Sorry, Mark, we do need to get rolling. Yeah, it's okay. I think we've got some pretty nasty connection issues here, but that's all right. I appreciate the outlook on the market here. We do have to get rolling a little bit. Can we have you back next week? Maybe we'll hopefully not have some of these tech issues going on.
Yeah, sure. I'd love to be back.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks very much, thanks very much, Mark. Folks, if you want to get more of Mark's training or want to see what Mark is looking at and how Mark actually makes trades, go ahead and stop on over. We're actually doing a webinar here pretty soon. Let me get you that link real quick. I'll go ahead and throw it in the chat. Mark, thanks so much. Hope that you have a great weekend, and hopefully we get some more volume in this market for next week. It's been rough.
Yeah, well, going into Memorial Day and the summer, things tend to slow down, but you never know.
Okay. All right, Mark. Thanks so much.
Yep.
Have a great weekend, folks. That is Mark Petrino. He runs our trading school. So if you've ever thought to yourself, gosh, I need some help to get better at the fundamentals of stock trading and all of that, check out the trading school. Link to a webinar right down there if you want to learn more about it before committing. We love having Mark on our team, done some really great stuff there. So really good stuff. Mark is a good guy, Evil. Appreciate that. And appreciate the questions from the group here. That sounds good. Jay Groove saying, I heard Mark, okay, he was cutting out like crazy and had a really significant delay on my end here. We'll see if we can't fix that up though. Awesome stuff. Love the comments about Mark. Okay. While I was in there, 13, what did I miss? Oh, you know what? That was my fault.
Michigan sentiment. Oh,
I had muted you because the keyboard was super loud, and then I forgot to unmute you.
I'm sorry.
I'm screwing up everything here today, folks.
No, I need to not pound so hard on my keyboard. But the consumer sentiment numbers came out, and the market did not like that, and it has really started chilling things out here. So we're starting to turn around. It looks like Tesla is falling, and let me look at some of these other Mag 7s here, since that's pretty much the market these days. Looks like Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, and Tesla are the ones that are down today. With NVIDIA and Microsoft kind of holding things up.
Yeah, that Apple or that sentiment number, that really kind of killed the bounce here in Apple. Looks like this stopped right at the VWAP there.
So let's see what the market's doing right now. It looks like even though LiDAR has been putting in these nasty wicks, we're now starting to push up here. new intraday high and going higher and higher and higher.
Wow, that was unbelievable timing right there. Like literally, as soon as I brought that up, we absolutely ripped. We
And we're
absolutely
still
ripped
ripping.
on that great call. Oh my God, 13. Where can we find the 13 alert service? That was ridiculous. That was absolutely ridiculous.
I don't know if it's just luck, or, which
No,
it probably is.
That timing was something else there. That you don't often see it like that, but holy smokes, that timing was good. Nice trade here. I'd be selling into this move a little bit.
Yeah, if you guys managed to capture that right as I was starting to talk about it, you did well. You guys are quicker than I am.
Indeed. Good morning. Stay focused. Hopefully you're doing well here. We had a couple of mixed trades here, watching the market kind of figure out where it's going. How are you doing? What are you looking at here this morning?
I'm still waiting to see if CXAI is going to turn around here or not. I think it's not. It's we're starting to get a MACD crossing to the downside, so I may just have to close this out for a tiny loss. I was trying to build a position around VWAP in this one for a reversal, and it just didn't get off the ground like I wanted.
Fed talking smack. Richard saying he traded sound. That's awesome. Nice job booking gains there. Shop looks like this is moving lower here. All rips sold after the report. I'm interested in the 50s. Okay, so Jay, you're waiting for this to pull back another 10 handles here, and then we'll take a look at it. Mark that down here on Shop.
That's great info, line Atlas. Thank you.
Boost holding its move up here, 1375.
So what's next? Stay focused after the Mag 7. Do we see? Let's see. What do you get? Values after that? What are we getting after that? What's going to get hit next? All right, let's see. It looks like SGBX just had a little bit of a breakdown there. SoundHound is now starting to try to break down. There's this 65 EMA on the 5-minute that it's currently trying to decide whether or not it's going to hold up or not, and it looks like it's failing. What else? LIDR, that thing got up to 217, and now we're pulling back. NVAX, this thing is under 10 again. And I am out of CXAI for a small loss.
Okay, well, good job keeping yourself protected there. A small loss is something you can handle. A big loss is what we try to avoid. So good stuff there. Smoke Tuna mentioning SRTS. Looks like this is going to try and reclaim its VWAP.
At Lion, I was curious about if copper was going to be, I think I was even looking back in 2022 at copper because of the whole, and maybe even 21 because of the whole EV craze. There was a statistics that came out that showed a different side-by-side difference between the amount of copper being used in EVs versus internal combustion engines, and it's just like 3 or 4 times the amount. It's insane. So if we continue to see EVs get produced as much as they are, absolutely copper is going to be insane. Plus, we all have this new infrastructure that we need to build out to handle all the electricity demand. So there's more copper. Oh, let's not forget that we also have a lot of semiconductors and chips and computer circuits that rely on copper and other precious metals as well. Oh yeah, these basic materials are going to get crazy. And that is why I stopped out where I did with CXAI, because I would have been hurting pretty bad.
Big pull as that continues here, CXAI. LIDR still looking really good. That looking like it's going to set some new highs here on LIDR.
AEMD is curling. So that might be a potential trade to return to VWAP, which is currently at 167.
Boy, we've been waiting for that to curl all morning here. We'll see if we end up getting that.
LIDAR is not done. It put in a new high of 220, and it looks like it might want to try to go higher.
Tesla ripping to the lows here.
Is there news in Tesla? Did the market finally figure out that doing business in China is not a good idea? Or their research or whatever there is they're doing?
Let's see.
Or is this supercharger network issues? Announces 500 million investment in Tesla supercharge. Network in 2024.
I don't really see anything fresh here that would be driving it down. They're doing more layoffs is what I keep hearing. Are you talking about Tesla, Richard? SRTS getting mentioned again here by Smoke Tuna. Looks like you're on that. BRB 1SEC13.
Okay. Yeah, I thought there were some additional layoffs in Tesla, particularly in the charging grid portion of their business. Oh, and Kramer slammed it last night. What was he saying about Tesla? I'd be curious to know that because I don't really watch. But SRTS, I see what you're saying here with this one. We're starting to get some EMA crossings momentarily here across VWAP, and it's holding above the 65 EMA after breaking over it the past 5 minutes. So we're just trying to work our way through this consolidation. What's the level you have to break out? It seems like 5 could be a big one, but I don't see a lot of persistence there. It looks more like it's above 5, like in 510, 505 area. Google holding that VWAP line. Take a look at Google. And back in LiDAR there, clean slate. Take a quick peek at that. And pullback. I hope that trade works out. That'd be awesome if it does. Alphabet. What you're saying about it, the VWAP. Here. I don't know what time frame you're using, so I'll just go with mine here. And on this chart, it doesn't look like it's really holding it anymore. Right? Let's take a look at I don't know. What are we looking at here with as far as a trade idea for Alphabet? If it holds the VWAP, then we're going up to what's your price target for this one? Is it going to be about 168.50? Is that what it is? Give me an idea if you wouldn't mind, sir. Seago falling, CXAI falling, ITOS. ITOS is interesting because it's holding above VWAP, and if the MACD starts to indicate that the momentum is shifting, ITOS might be able to take another stab at 1770. So we'll have to watch that.
LiDAR also getting mentioned here.
Yeah, that was gentleman. What's his name? Who said it?
Jane was mentioning it. That's what.
Jane. Oh, and clean slate. Yeah. 217 entry for LiDAR. Okay. That was. I think that was a previous high before it went higher. What's your stop at? Is the stop going to be at about 2 or under 2, or what's the plan there at that? Because it looks like if it does go down to 2, there's some there could be some support from the after hours trading in LIDR. SRTS came back in under VWAP, but it's still hanging in there. Moved back up. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about some of these. It looks like we're getting a lot of sideways action. And some
I was just thinking the same thing. Every chart that I've pulled up here, for the most part, looks like it's sideways at the moment. Yeah. Don't really see anything else in terms of a decent trade.
Hey, sitting on my hands yesterday after we were done live trading worked out really well.
Yeah, I bet it did.
So that might be something I end up doing after we're done here, because it's nice to hold on to those gains once you got them. About to get out of hood. Did you short? Did you guys short that one, or what was the trade there? I don't know what.
Hood is just falling out of bed here.
Oh, okay.
And actually, this completely gave. I think this was the earnings move, right? This had earnings on May 8th. That was Wednesday. So it looks like we're actually approaching the lows that we bounced off of after the Wells notice news that we got. Hood Look for this to continue to move down. 1630 is that level here. I think that this tests that.
Now, I thought I saw somebody mentioning that it's moving down because of Bitcoin, and I think there's a truth to that, because my understanding is Robinhood does have to hold some in order to be able to have people trade it with their platform. I believe that's how it works. If somebody can correct me or verify that.
Yeah, I don't know,
but I think that's the thought here, because we've seen all these other ones that are big into Bitcoin. As soon as they start selling off, or as soon as the Bitcoin starts selling off, they end up going down because of their holdings. All right, back to stocks.
Groupon looks like this might be trying to go higher here on Groupon, ticker GRPN.
And LIDR might be just getting ready to go higher here. I can't say that that's what's happening for sure. It's just kind of holding up here at the moment. Look at the scanners, see if there's anything new here. Nah. Index is the big 100% mover today. And looks like it's trying to make another move to try and get above or back up to 11.
Index? Yeah, Index.
Wisdom, you're up 9% on DMAT plus Divi. Hell yes, brother.
It's just holding right here on its VWAP. It's not really doing much of anything. Index, that is.
So yeah, materials has been a really good play, it seems, lately. This and I'm not in any materials ETFs. I really should be, but really into the utilities. I think that's a strong play. Even though it was Mark, right? Yeah. Even though I think he's right that it is in an oversold or overbought territory.
I mean, yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah, I still think that following a pullback, it's still strong to be in utilities. I think that we're going to be seeing that sector do well over the course of the year with potential rate cuts. And the increasing demand as a result of electrification of the grid and AI and all that.
CDNA looks like this might be curling off the VWAP. No volume here, though. Everything looks dead out here.
Seems like everybody's just kind of holding their breath, doesn't it?
I mean, it's Friday. It's time to go.
That's right.
I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know what they're waiting for, unless there's a particular Fed number they're waiting to hear from. I think that's still going on right now, right?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? I was reading.
I think they're waiting for a particular Fed member to speak, or maybe to have the Fed member speak. That's what the market's waiting for. I'm not sure. I'm just trying to think of reasons why we're kind of hanging out here, just not doing a whole lot. So the Fed's dilly around, whatever.
Dilly. All right.
Yeah.
Enough of that. Enough of that. So we had Bowman, right? Already. Was that at 9 a.m.?
I'm
pretty sure we got Goolsby at 12:45.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong date.
And you got Barr at 1:30. That's what I've got from the calendar here.
Yeah.
Unless that's changed. I don't think that it has.
Bowman, Goolsby.
Looks like you're getting Zeekr here to IPO pretty soon. Ticker ZK. Not one that was on my list.
Yeah. Okay. Good luck with the that's an IPO, right?
ZK, yes, that's a new IPO here that they're waiting at the post for this to open. It's always fun to exclaim that the day is over at 0800. Oh, Jay Summers, we'll appreciate it. That's 8 o'clock in the morning for those of you that don't do military time. Oh, good stuff. Richard saying, I love INTC just chilling at 30 and barely moving. LOL. I will say a shout out to Happy Hour. That INTC, they actually had a great entry. They were saying that was a buy at 25. That doubled up to 50 off that move. So Then 2 Fed members going on CNBC at 2 p.m. Okay, so we're going to have the whole Fed brigade and those band of merrymakers out there talking jawbone in the market.
Yeah, so let's see if that causes the market to wet its pants. INTC, I mean, yeah, 25 still seems like a really good level. I have an order out for that level too at 25. SQQQ just almost straight up until about 10 minutes ago. So we might just be getting a little bit of resetting before we see some more selling.
Not much of a trade there either. That move was only, what, 20 cents? I guess. That's just, I don't know. I like trading SQQ for full dollar moves.
Well, that could happen later. That could happen later. All right, so 521, that was a level in SPY. That was a resistance, and now it's a support level. So if we start to get a breakdown there, we're losing that level, and 518.30 would be the next one I'd be looking at. I'm really curious about ITOS. It's been going sideways almost this entire time, and it's still above VWAP. I feel like there's going to be a pop here. Or a breakdown.
Are you in it? Did you position for it yet?
Not yet. No. I want to see the MACD start to curl.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Things looks really kind of just dead there.
I think LIDR, we're going to get a break over 223 here in just a bit. Oh, smoked tuna might
there we go.
The same thing.
Do we know if the flush was from consumer sentiment? It sounded like it was from that Michigan consumer sentiment number, Anne-Marie. Yes.
It did, yeah, kind of line up at the moment that came out. So I'd say it's likely. LIDR has a big old sell wall at 220 it has to get through, and it's not helping the price at the moment. CXAI, I don't know if it's turning around. It's beneath VWAP, but it looks like it's trying to get back up there. DJT, just quite a bit of trading opportunities, just really whipping around and, illiquid. You're mentioning I thought I saw somebody mentioning SRTS. Yeah, smoked tuna. It does look like it's okay. Well, maybe it's starting to go here. What are we after, 5?
Is this SRTS?
Yeah, it seems like 5 is the one that's trying to push over right at this moment as we speak. If we just get a little bit more expansion, it probably could do that here.
Here's Palantir, by the way. This actually might lose its $20 level. Jay mentioning Palantir, Hood, SoFi, all heavy names that Reddit loves. No interest in any of them.
Well, it's fine if Reddit wants to like Palantir. That's not the reason I like it. I think I'm on it for a different reason. So SRTS and LIDR seem to be the 2 interesting ones at the moment. Like there's an imminent breakout, possibly with either one of them. We need to get that volume to expand before that happens, though. And then there's that ITOS just wants to go sideways and make me wonder if it's ever going to do anything.
What bothers you about the Palantir CEO? He's a genius and he hates short sellers. Generally speaking, I would think those are good things. Stay focused here, saying that that new Chinese e-company, Zeekr, going public. Are you buying that one? I got to think I'm going to pass completely on Zeekr. I don't even think that'll be a great IPO. We'll see, though.
That seems like that's just, more crowding into an already crowded space. Do we really need more EV companies out of China? I feel like, yeah, exactly. I feel like it's just ridiculous to be excited about more EV companies at this point. But by all means, if you feel like you can trade that thing and make money, then go for it. I don't want to stop you from doing that. Sound is making a little bit of a big move here back up to VWAP. Is there a fight in SRTS? Which we would like to see. And I think with these points about Palantir are great and valid, like especially that forward P80. That's absolutely massive. You kind of need the to see the earnings rise up to match that, or at least make more sense of it. And we could see some real big expansion in the earnings as time goes on, especially with all the geopolitical tensions in the around the world, basically right now. I think Palantir is going to be very important to the U.S.
So do I.
But hey, I'm not going to knock anybody for thinking differently than I do. It's why we have a market.
Yep.
It's that simple, guys. If you think
I say whatever you want. I'm a buyer of Palantir under 20. I'll let you know when I start filling that position.
White House wanting to eliminate 2017 tax breaks. Well, how many of that is still hanging around? Is that still for companies and people not like me and you?
I'm just rolling through what's on the scanner here. None of it looks any good for trading purposes. None of it looks good here.
Not really.
I'm not the only one that sees everything slowing down here, am I?
It certainly looks that way to me.
Yeah, okay. MNDR, this got mentioned earlier. This thing $2 after that big move to 20.
You're out of LiDAR on this slight green move, just not working out. I mean, if it's not, then that's what you got to do. But it seems like now it's trying to, all you had to do is get out of it. And of course, now it goes. I hate it when this happens. LIDR pushing up to the.
Yeah, Anne-Marie, you're saying it's grinding. That's what I'm seeing here too. It's just really, really brutal.
LIDR trying to get up to 223, the intraday high. Just a few cents away.
Tesla, you might have another leg down here, El Toro. Let's see if we end up breaking this and move lower here. 168.88, your intraday low. That is about to get tested as we speak. New lows.
Have a great rest of the weekend, man.
Enjoy your weekend, Wisdom. Thanks for all your support and hanging out with us. Oops. Seeing a picture of a 6.25-inch hailstone from Texas last night. Hope you're all right, Joe.
Oh, it's perfectly fine where I'm at.
Okay, you were saying there were storms earlier. I think earlier this week you had some storms, right?
We did have some storms. We had some pretty big flooding. Now, it wasn't necessarily in my area of Houston. It's actually, listen, if you started driving across Houston, the next day you'd probably be halfway through Houston. So it's a very big city, and it's the northeastern side that's really getting hit hard. I'm not there. I'm on a completely opposite side. Gotcha. So I'm okay. But I am getting some rain.
Stay focused here, saying, well, when the show ends, I'm sitting on my hands, not about to blow up my week chasing waterfalls. Really good idea there. Stay focused. I'm going to hit the golf course, try to get outside, touch some grass.
Touch some grass, kick some ass. That's what we like to hear.
Hopefully. All
right, is ITOS finally starting to do something? Not sure. A little bit of a higher print over the past 25, 30 minutes recently, so maybe it's starting to move. Not taking position at the moment. It looks like LIDR had a nice pop to 241 and came right back in. This thing.
Got to sell on that pop, though.
Yeah. See, exactly, Jane. Got laundry to do. We got household chores. Much better than losing money in this market. Am I right? Jay Rice saying Reddit has a mind of its own.
Did anyone post that news about the DEA in regard to pot stocks? Yeah, maybe I missed that while I was looking at something else here.
What?
Seeing a newsprint here. The DEA released a new report appearing to call into question marijuana's medical value, despite the recent talk about it being reclassified. So that would not be good.
Well, is that under like Tilray or CGC? Is that is where the news headline is?
That was from Twitter. Let me see if I can find an actual news and that's why I was asking. That's why I was asking here.
Gotcha. Let me see if that's
here we go. Right here. Ticker CGC, right in the pro news feed, and a link to this. DEA appears to question marijuana's medical value despite rescheduling recommendation.
Well,
it's courtesy of Marijuana Moment. So CGC, I was just taking a look at some of the stocks here. CGC actually a little bit weak.
Well, I suppose that we're really not going to see that kind of questioning, so we don't have enough research done on it. So maybe if it's rescheduled, we could get that research done on it. I know there's like really only one university that's been allowed to do research on that. I don't think
Webcoin says the entire DEA needs to eat a gummy. Lynn and Randy, we posted it above. Sorry, I missed that, Lynn and Randy. There you go. Appreciate that. DEA trying to save their jobs. There's plenty of other drugs that cause way more of a problem than pot that they can go after. Exactly. I think that whole fentanyl thing is orchestrated, though. That's my tinfoil hat. I don't think they want to stop that.
I don't know about that. That's really interesting. You know what? I'm going to probably have to put my tinfoil hat on later and look into that comment. LIDR is trying to push higher, like you were saying, smoked tuna.
This is really the only thing that's going here. Got about 9 more minutes left, and then we'll get Anne-Marie in here to discuss some options. We'll see what kind of options trades we can get. I think one of the things I really like about some of those trades that Anne-Marie comes up with is that they're designed to profit if the stock does nothing, right? So if we're in one of these areas where just not a whole lot is going on, there are also some setups to be had there. So really looking forward to bringing Anne-Marie on. We're going to be doing that in about 8 minutes from now, folks.
And you have time in a bottle. Because that's basically what you're playing, right? Is you're playing the time decay on those.
Yeah.
Right? Gosh.
LIDAR continuing to set some new highs here. This one actually moving.
Yeah, I think we might need to take that back. NVAX, you are not the mover today. It's a LIDAR. I mean, it had a nice, NVAX had a nice pop, but still didn't get back to that 1418 in pre-market like I was looking for. Maybe it happens later. And NVAX, that move in NVAX was like the only two winning trades I've had today, and I just had one losing one with.
Yeah, I got stopped out of sound. That was.
I think it was SRTS. I forget who it was. No, it wasn't that one. Anyway, I don't remember who it was. Already forgot about her. Root. Oh gosh, Root's back in the game.
Is that moving around here today? I didn't even see it really getting action today.
It's been moving back up all week.
The Webcoin saying Joel may be safe. Okay, so we're not going to have Joel try to handstand walk down a Detroit expressway. Good. That's probably good for everybody involved, I would say. Joel may be safe.
Okay. S&P 500 starting to really break down. We lost 521. So I'm going to be looking for 518.30. That could be a support level. First, actually, let's see what it does with yesterday's close. Yesterday's close was 520.17, and we're hanging around there right now, actually just beneath it. So if that level goes, then I think it's going to be 518.30. But let's see what happens with this this price action around yesterday's close. What did give it 12 months CTRI? Oh, this is CTRI. That reminds me, there was another company that I was looking at that it reminded me of CTRI. Yeah, infrastructure, utility infrastructure. So that's interesting. There's another infrastructure play. Let me see if I can pull it up while we still have a few minutes left.
Stay focused here, saying, hey guys, what happens to a world that is electrified in a massive solar flare? So I think what you're referring to there is what happens to all of the different electronic devices and things like cars. We experience a huge solar flare. I would imagine that they would design those to be protected, at least in somewhat. That's a good question, though. Stay focused. Jane, I think you're referring to CBD. That will generally have some pain relieving effects, but you don't get the THC high that everyone's accustomed to.
Yeah, it's just all chill, no thrill.
Oh, that's not bad, 13. That is not bad. Boy, I don't even the people that I follow on Twitter that normally trade, they're not even like posting right now. It's like they're gone.
They went back to bed.
Maybe.
So stay focused. If you're still around, have you ever looked at MLI? I think this could be a real interesting infrastructure play on the piping. For both water and gas and other systems. I was looking at this one for barbecue plays, kind of like an idea on summer. And seeing as what they did, it kind of extended beyond that. I thought that might be an interesting play on a number of things, like HVAC, for example. So I just wanted to know if you had looked at this one at all, or if you have any thoughts on this one, because it seems interesting for infrastructure. That was ticker MLI. Just a question on an idea. That's all it is.
No, I'm still looking around. I'm doing everything I can to try and find anything that's going on here, but I see a lot of dead stuff.
Yeah, it's just really a LiDAR that just keeps putting in new highs, pulling back, and then making new ones.
MRVI. Looks like this is going higher, but grinding higher slowly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, stay focused. MLI. That's the one. Sell in May crowd has gone away. It's funny, Beach Bum. Like I was saying that the other day. Like it seems like the whole sell in May crowd forgot that you need to. This kind of went away before selling. Kind of got that backwards. SoundHound popped up over VWAP and came back in. Looks like it's trying to recapture not only VWAP, but it wants 575 back as well. NVAX might be getting another move here. We might be seeing some of these come back. What was the one I was looking at earlier? ITOS, did that ever do anything? Nope, still sideways. CXAI is getting a little pop here, trying to get back to VWAP.
Nothing, man. I got absolutely nothing. I'm done trading here for today. That is for sure.
Yeah, take those gains. And
how's GME doing? We had GME was moving earlier. Is that one of the only things that completely round tripped here? And we'll see if that gets going again on GME. Even GME is kind of slowing up.
Jay Rice, I would love Boat if it would, if I was in it back down at 30. But seeing as how high and far it's run now, I think I would not want to be getting into this, especially with an 85 RSI. I think this is looking great. I think your thesis on this is great. I just don't think the entry for me is great. So I would not be trading this one at the moment. I would expect. Sorry, go ahead.
Plus, you made money off that Zim move, which you had exposure to this move already. I agree. I would wait for a better entry there.
I got you. Yeah. And so, for this one, it seems like somewhere in the high 36s to high 37s, around that, maybe 36.80 to 37.80. That's going to probably be the range where we might see some topping out if we don't see it sooner, because that's going to be where the highs were from 22.
All right. Any closing words here for the week 13? Really great job. I know the volume has been kind of a bummer, and today was kind of slow. But any closing words here before we bring on Anne Marie?
I think everybody in this chat did absolutely great this week. It seemed like there was a whole bunch of wins on a lot of things that we were all discussing. Great job, everybody. You all deserve this weekend that we're going into. Have a good one, and I will see you on Monday.
Yep, that sounds good, 13. They did such a good job this week that guess what? They get the next 2 days off. Good stuff there, 13. Have a great weekend, man. Thanks for all of your contributions here. Take care of yourself.
You too, guys.
All right, smash up the like for my guy 13. He works overtime to make sure that our group has some stuff to trade. And next, we bring on my friend Anne Marie Band. Anne Marie, how are you today?
I'm pretty surprised by the absolute rollover right there at the top of the range in the broad markets after that consumer sentiment number. That was pretty impressive.
Okay, well, I don't know. I know you've been hanging out here. I'm not sure how much you saw here. Things were actually pretty good for us early, but man, oh man, they really just kind of dried up recently. We had nothing going on there other than some dad jokes for about the last 20 minutes. So what do you got here for us today?
I think to bring it back to why the market got really quiet and nothing started moving, when we're in trend and everything reverses on just either one trigger or one statement, all the traders that are active step back and go, holy cow, I better not hit my daily loss limit, whatever that is, right? Or they're trading on the desk or wherever they are to go, is that a sea change event? So I think that maybe towards the afternoon, things will pick up, but Fridays are normally trending. And so the big thing to watch is I'm going to share a chart from TradingView, I think. Here. Yeah. I'm going to show you this chart. Well, that's from Thinkorswim, of course. And I transferred because Schwab said, hey, you can't log in. All of my custom studies have been vaporized.
So, okay, so wait a sec. So that's crazy. So I opened Thinkorswim like I've been doing for the last 8 years, like normal today, and it worked. So you're saying you went over to
anything that I tried to log in, because I have Schwab accounts also. When I tried to log in, they went, sorry.
Oh,
that doesn't work.
No, that is a bummer, Anne Marie. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. But, at the end of the day, it is what it is. So I want to show you something, and these are gamma lines. It tells us where the trader's position from an options perspective in SPY today. And when we notice this is an expanded gamma level. And so at 522.50, the traders just stopped buying. And now I don't know if it happened to coincide with the consumer sentiment or if they had said, hey, listen, this is our line in the sand anyway. And then they've just started walking back down that line to where I don't know what the actual price is right now because I don't have a live feed with Thinkorswim, but that 522 is a key zone that says, hey, you better watch that line because if we lose it again, I've got all the call put ratios in here.
I was like, did you get your indicators back? I saw a whole bunch of stuff pop up on the screen and I got excited for a split second there.
No. All right, let's get that off. Show call appearance.
Yeah. So I know while you're flipping, there was some really good advice here. Save your Think or Swim folder, especially your workspaces. You can find this on your computer. I'm going to do this too. Really good advice. Okay.
I have them. Here's the thing. In Schwab, they will not allow you to load a prior workspace that's been on the platform for here, because everything is, I save my workspaces.
Yeah, me too.
I went to an old workspace and went, all right, I'll just load this.
Yeah, I save them and back them up. I actually have a thumb drive over here with my backed up Thinkorswim workspaces. This is so. Here's what we'll say. One of the we're gonna get back to the trading here, Anne-Marie, but it looks like everyone is having conniptions from this move that's about to take place later today or this weekend. I think it probably behooves all of you to log in Saturday and Sunday and see if there's anything different that you might be able to prepare for before the bell on Monday. Because the last thing that you want to do is feel like you have to do all this stuff right before the bell. That's that's gonna lead to a lot of stress and maybe some mistakes.
Yeah, 100%. All right, so let's have a peek at the charts in general, and let's just look at the overview here, simply because it's almost like I'm working with a brand new platform right now. We are looking at a market that's pretty much sideways. The charts that did really well several days past are leaking, and the charts that did really badly several days past are lifting. And so it feels like we're in a little bit of a mean reversion, squishy bit for us. And so that puts me a little bit, from a cautionary perspective, tells me, hey, we need to be pretty careful about flow and motion and thinking the markets are going to keep running up the rails, because we had a weaker jobs number. We have consumer sentiment being a bit negative. We had CPI coming in a little bit hot. So we've got all these things. And so although the market's running up, what I really have been telling traders to do is, if you've got great positions, use liquidity to the upside to sell when you can, not when you have to.
Okay.
And so that remains very, very important for us to consider. And so that being said, let's look at the powerhouses that have been bringing us along. We wanted to talk about, not that this is a powerhouse, but last time we talked, we said, hey, we have a few things we want to look at. We want to see if Boeing is going to keep its formation. And it does look like it wants to from a weekly perspective. I've got the weekly formations up here, because I think from a trader of options, when we're looking to sell time and time decay, what we really want to see what the price action looks like up across these weekly edges. And you can see today that the traders are staring down, getting up over the close of the prior week. And that is going to be critically important. If it doesn't, we have a move down to potentially 65. And if it does, we have a move up to potentially 190. Now, that number I don't see at all. So that's where we're looking for the formations. And using that perspective, there we go. If we want to take a peek at those things, we can look at June and say, all right, I'm just going to do a little bit. Let's see what kind of volatility we have that plays for us. Let's say we go to June the 14th. That's got vol that's a little bit higher, but the time decay doesn't quite work for us. if we use that 165 area, notice, if we use the 165 to 160, it's a weekly one. It gets done in a hurry, but doesn't give us as much revenue as we might want if we went to 165 and 160. Now, the question is it worth the 10 cents to stay in a week longer into expiry? I think that would depend, but in the grand scheme of things, I would say yes. Now, for those of us that are looking for great big outsized gains, what might be super cool, Ryan, and this is just me thinking off the top of my head, if we had some readings that just popped up overnight someplace and they were very high volatility and looked like range expansion, then we might be able to put something quick together and go, breaking options or whatever, and just shove it in for a 10-minute segment somewhere. But as it sits right now, we're sitting in this great big sloshy space. And that sloshy space says, I think it's a good idea to keep selling these iron condors. And notice, look at how expensive the pricing is for the move to 190. It's pretty big, right? The move to 165, not so much. But if we take a look at the charts and we say, what is the price action likely to do? That 190 really is the topping edge for us to sit around and look at and say, all right, trend is down, momentum is down. We're using the TTM squeeze here because my custom indicators are not sitting there with the double stochastic, but I will look for them. Again, it is telling us that we've got that range. From a daily perspective, we're still trying to grind up, but we've got this sideways action. If you feel less comfortable about that, going to the 190 to 195, you could easily choose 195 to 200, and that would flatten it out a little bit more. Let's pull that up and see what that gives us. But I do like these iron condors. And here's the beautiful thing. We're sitting in a place where iron condors are very likely to deliver good results. There's going to be a time where the market's going to shift. We're going to do a lot of other stuff, and we'll be pulling out another tool. While this tool works, spend the time learning what it looks like when they do work. And then when we shift to another regime, whether it's range expansion or whatever the case might be, we'll slip into another set of strategies that pay us off really, really well. So we do have this one up here. I do like this trade sitting in the space as it is really sitting between the buying and the selling positions for us. The next one that I wanted to talk to us about was, what was that? Was it Amazon? I think it was Amazon. Or did we take a trade in Amazon?
Didn't we talk about Accenture last time, I feel like?
Oh, yes, we did. We wanted to see if it would hold. Yes. Oops.
Accenture actually making a higher low on the daily, so maybe that is kind of turning around here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I really like what this chart is doing from a weekly perspective. And we've given our, every single one of my drawings is disappeared. So we've given our positions some really nice cushion, as it were, if we can close above the close of the prior week. And that is around that 302 area. And so we've got something that looks pretty fair. We do want to get out before earnings again this time around. And we'll either take our lumps or move forward. But if we want to take an earnings trade, let's take a look and see how earnings have responded in times past relative to trend. Okay. So here's the last year. Okay. We were moving up. We faded into that moving average. So the earnings gave us a fade, but then over several weeks, it took a long time for it to eat through that fade. Notice, I mean, a long time. So that line in the sand, I think, is pretty important for us to watch. And so as it moves into that space, it fades again into earnings. Notice this earnings low, same as the earnings low of the following formation, but the moving average was also flat and the momentum was positive to flat. So it held that low and then broke it. I think the market took off in October, so it just ran with everybody else. So this earnings formation popped up, reversion to the mean. Okay, so this earnings brought down, reversion to the mean, break up, reversion to the mean. This one, it was sitting at the mean. And so the sideways pattern didn't give us a good indication of where it was going to go. This one, reversion to the mean. And then this one was, an absolute break. Look at the low of this earnings candlestick on the week and the low of the earnings that came in here. And so here's what we're seeing, a little bit of a muddy pattern, but we note that the prior earnings releases give us the trigger points where the price action is likely to move or to fade. And so right here at the 307, if you're thinking about an earnings fade, we'd be looking somewhere around the 290 area if it broke down. And if it lifted, we have this earnings high and this earnings high basically converging at about 318 to 315. So let's see if we can build something between 290 and 315. Now, what I just showed you was how this chart behaves relative to earnings, one earning after the other, and we can see that relationship. When you are looking to make an earnings trade, move out on those weeklies and look to those, because very often they'll come back and test those pretty important levels. So we're looking at 315 and 290. So if we were to look at this, and what is that earnings date?
For Accenture, let me get that for you here.
I have 620. What do you have?
Well, you are faster than I am. Let's see here. Calendar earnings. Next one here, unconfirmed for 620. So yeah, we have the same, but they haven't confirmed that yet, but it'll be right around there.
Okay. So we don't want to do the 21st because that would be too nerve-wracking. We could do the 28th, but that's a quarterly, and that's going to give us wonky numbers. And then we don't have anything until August. So that is kind of suckage. All right, let's take a peek at the quarterly volumes and see. Nope, we're not getting anything. Just can't. We could trade into this area and then rotate it.
And so that's what I was going to ask. So when you have one of these contracts that barely captures the event that you're looking for, do you generally stay away from it because you just don't have enough time on the opposite end of it? This basically has to work out perfectly on time in order for this to work, is what I'm gathering.
Yes, unless it moves prior to the event.
Okay.
And so what I would say here is, if we took a position like this and we said, all right, let's build a butterfly into these earnings, 290, 280, 270, right? Gives us 73-cent debit with a $10 $9.27 upside. If it goes to 315, we choose 325 and then 335, a little bit more expensive for sure. But altogether, we run into about $2.11 or so. That will be our total outlay with $7.89 to go. Okay, so big upside. Is that right? Yeah, $7.90 or so for the upside, and for the downside, it's a maximum outlay of this total amount. And so what we would have to do then is watch it. Now, let's say it completely collapses or it bounces really high into a target space. We would cover it. If it goes into the middle strike, we'll cover it and then we'll reset because there'll be more options open there. But this gives us that clean edge. Listen, if this rolls over, this is going to look really nice because it's doing it before the motion. And also, if it moves up, it's going to be really nice. So both of these look pretty solid to me. I like it as a trade, and there's significant upside. Here's the one thing. Don't go and buy 50 of them, right? You don't want to do that. What you want to do is say, hey, I'm going to buy a few of these, or I'm going to buy 2 of these, and it's going to give me just what I'm looking for, right? And you can see the price action moving up and down and up and down. How about putting in a limit order and letting that limit order tell you what you tell ACN what you want to pay for it. You tell the dealers what you want to pay for it. If it doesn't come to you, don't fret. Just say, you know what? Fine. There's something else for me to trade in here. We've had a lot of, here's one that I thought would fade dramatically, but it didn't. It's holding really nicely. And what we had in here was also a double butterfly into earnings, and it's got quite a bit of room left on it in terms of the days. So let me expand this. Let me maximize this one. And let's do the same analysis. I want to show you how well it works for you to use earnings analysis on these candlesticks so that you can see where the traders actually have decided that they want to move, right? And so why can I not see what's going on in the chat?
I'm nervous for this thinkorswim move. That's my big takeaway here. I am nervous for Monday.
Yeah.
I'm going to lose all my stuff. I know it already.
Yeah, it's really, I'm supremely disappointed. Oh, ARM only has 3 earnings. Never mind. Okay, so here is the first earnings event. And then that's the high low of it. Here's the second earnings event. And that's the high low of it. And now we're coming into this event, which we just had, right? And their numbers were not that good. They did not do very well, but look at how price is responding. So where do we expect it to move? I think it should move up into the 116 area.
Yeah, I think it should
easily
move up into that consolidation area.
Absolutely. And that is the strike that we have here. So let's say you want to play this one using a butterfly. And you want to use, I think I have May's butterfly in here. Okay. Oops, that's June, Anne-Marie. Okay, here's May. And so let's say we go 110. 116. You can see 115 has a ton of volume. And then 6 points ahead would be 21. So this debit was, this thing was about 30 cents a few days ago. It's now at $1.10. And so that is something that you could look at and go, you know, if it gives me just a few days, I'm paying $1.13 for it. I could end up getting, you know, the other $3.82 or $3.83 left on this position. So it is a very nice butterfly. The middle strike is what you're after. If for happenstance, we think it's going to come into 118, it's a few more pennies. You could also bring this one down and say, you know, maybe 125 is what I'm looking for. It widens up. 8 and 8 is 16. No, let's make it even. Right? It becomes $1.47. And if it really starts to run with NVIDIA on, you know, the docket somewhere moving ahead, it's going to go. But my thought, based on how it moves from earnings to earnings, that's a pretty nice upshot from that space. I have positioned it for both the long and the short side of it. So we're waiting for this edge to come. So you've got $1.40 that you're spending with an upside of $6.60.
Okay.
So pretty nice motion there if it runs to the upside. My thought would be put a 50% marker on it.
Okay.
And that would be something definitely to watch. Okay, the last one I wanted to look at was, let me look at my notes.
And then after we do this last one, Anne Marie, I'd like to do a very quick recap at the end of the different trades. I think that that'll just make it easy to kind of recap what we were talking about. So let's take a look at the trades that we made, whether they're put calls, what the strikes are and all that, the reason, the risk, and the profit possibilities. So let's go ahead with this last one.
Perfect. The last one I wanted to see is McDonald's because it's got a lot of.
Yep.
Oops, sorry, I sent that to you in a Slack.
Oh, I was like, okay, that's good. There we go, McDonald's.
Sorry. Okay, so what we are seeing is the demographic that spends money at McDonald's is spending less money at McDonald's. And so this is also a canary in the coal mine as far as I am concerned, because we know we've got the markets are divided in two different spaces right now between the haves and the have-nots, unfortunately. And so, again, let's take a look, see how this goes. We're going to try and hammer through this very quickly. We've got earnings that move up in an uptrend, earnings that break down. Let me draw the line here. High, low. Look at the follow-up earnings week. On the money comes into the low of the prior earnings, bounces above it but can't hold, collapses down. Now we have this and this. And so here we are above the last earnings event. My thought is that the traders should hold this, but if they don't, 250 to 255 looks like the bottom of that range. And then 280 to 290 looks at the top. So here we are again. We're going to do an iron condor using those lines in the sand that the traders talked to us about. What we're looking for here is sideways action, 255 to 250. Wow, that doesn't give us very much premium. Maybe we leave that one alone because that's really not very much premium at all. And volatility-wise, we know that that's a big thing. So trades for today, we looked at ACN.
Yep, I've got Boeing, ACN, and now McDonald's.
Okay, so we're going to leave McDonald's alone, but we have ACN. We've got a double butterfly into earnings. The thought process is it's going to move up or down, and we want to trap that range of motion and collect the momentum that we'll get from that move. And so we're trading both on the long and the short side. Earnings are unconfirmed at 220, but what we want to do is watch for the move first and then pull the profit off. And then by then, the July contracts will be up and we'll reload and move into the next space.
Okay, now real quickly here, that is earnings on June 20th there. What are the risks involved in this trade and what potential profit possibilities can we see?
Okay, profit possibilities is the difference between 290 and 280 or 315 and 325. That's $10. The risk event looks like $2. So the upside is 8, the downside is 2.
Okay, awesome. The other one was Boeing.
Okay, and so for Boeing, we have an iron condor. We're thinking the price is going to get trapped in between those regions. And so we're getting a credit because we're using time decay. And the credit's going to be 148. The risk is going to be $3.52. That's the difference of $5, 195 from 200 gives us $5, and we're collecting 148 of that amount. Why do we choose trades that have a skewed risk to reward like that? Because the probability of winning is 95%. So that's it for that. I ran 1 minute over.
That's actually okay. We actually have a 5-minute buffer. Plus, we have Zunaid, who's going to jump on here with us.
What's up?
Look at that. Zunaid, it's like your ears were burning. I mean, what's going on?
I know. What's going on, Anne-Marie? Good to see you. I know we had a couple of good trades. Anytime I see a Boeing trade, it's unfortunate because a lot of times you just have a Boeing in the headline. So you know it's going to be in the downside.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like Boeing this. It's like, damn, I wish I had puts.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing about Boeing, though, because it's in so many big portfolios, it's got a space where people end up buying it. It just takes a little bit of time. All their black ops stuff.
I remember Boeing was in the 90s, not in the 90s. I was still in diapers, but I remember it was in the $90 area. And it finally broke 100 during COVID. And that's when I was like, this is a buy. But did I buy? No, I did not. But, you know, that's the story of it all. Ryan, I know you got to get out of here. Anne-Marie, appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
And we will, make some shorts out of your content there on the option side and hopefully get some articles up as well. So appreciate you recapping it and making life easier for our editorial team as AT turns off my lights. Appreciate you both.
Okay.
Literally just turned off my lights. I don't know.
Anne-Marie, have a good weekend. Sounds like they're dealing with some gremlins there in the office. We'll get out of here. Take care, everybody.
Anne-Marie, take care. Ryan, y'all take care as well. What is going on, chat? It is good to be back. Let me go ahead and adjust the branding. I do this every time. Why do I forget the branding every time? Is it? There we go. That the one? That's not the one. See, it's like I'm not a producer. There we go. Then I fixed it. We're gonna continue talking some options, and then we've got an all access coming up at 12 o'clock. So that'll be a good one here. Sandra, just give me a thumbs up whenever you are ready. And matter of fact, I'm going to enter the studio from my own. Give me a second here. There we go. Enter here. There's that. Share my screen. It's cool. It's like having 4 monitors just going insane. By the way, I'm looking to trade NVAX. Still holding on to the $10 area. I'm hoping that near power hour on a Friday can go crazy, go parabolic. It's holding $10, nice and pretty. But if it breaks 9, I'll be out. I might just get some options and just kind of YOLO a couple $100. But I'm sorry, Sandra. Give me a thumbs up if you were ready. Perfect. My apologies, Sandra. Chat, I had the link last night, so I got back to my hotel room, and, I have like a to-do list that I have. And so I typed it up. I got the StreamYard link. I had it ready for you. I had the subject line, a new one too, just in case. And then I saw you schedule a call and I was like, I recognize the last name because I always call you by your first name.
Right.
And I'm like, I wonder what happened here. And then I see your notes and I'm like, did I not send this? And then I check and I'm like, no, you didn't. So my apologies on that.
I'm glad that I sent you that little note on.
Me too, because you wouldn't have shown up and I would have been like, what happened?
I'm like, what just happened here? Am I supposed to be
every
on?
Friday you are slotted. So no, I'm happy to have you on. What's going on? Give us a, share your screen when you can and give us any insights in terms of, the trades that we took. I know you wrote an article about it as well. So chat, for those of you that like to read some options trading action as well, you have Sandra that contributes for us. So we had an article that we wrote, 2 of them, I believe, or there's one article with 2 ideas for trades that we took on Meta because it was breaking out, and then also on ARM as it was supposed to report earnings, right? So it had like an earnings run up play is how it went. But give us a quick insight.
Oh my gosh. Now I looks like when we talked about Meta was Meta was actually at 450. Let me share my screen with you here.
Yeah.
We were talking about it and really wanting on last Friday to see if I can get my window up.
Yeah, you're good.
There we go.
There we go.
Really wanting to see if Meta could stay above that 450 level. And that 450 level was a key level that we talked about. Let me get on a day chart or 4-hour here. And so this is actually where I was actually I think I was going to include a picture. Let me take this pivots off. But I didn't include a picture, but this is actually where we were talking about it on Friday, and that was the level for us.
Yeah.
And so on Monday, this actually went up 100%. And I don't know if you got my emails. I'm like, did you take any off yet? Like, because we were both...
let me take a look. I did not, but let me see what my position in.
Oh my gosh, you're gonna have a great day then. Yes.
Okay, so chat.
Did you buy shares or did you buy a contract?
I kid you not. Okay. I'm going to need to screenshot this.
Are you taking me out to dinner? Is that what's happening?
I think I've made enough money to fly out to wherever you are and then be able to do that.
That's awesome.
Oh, wait, you know what? I was wrong. Oh, so this is, okay. So here's what happened because we did a spread on ARM, right?
Yes, we did.
So
we did a spread on ARM, but this was Meta. Did you do Meta?
I didn't take Meta.
Okay.
You take Meta.
Okay, so
but tell me what profit you got.
Oh my God. Well, I got out at 100%. Actually, I took one off when I was at about 50, 60%. And that's when that was my first email. I think the second email was, hey, we're at 100% here. That's when I took my other one off. And so made some really good money. This went up about 400% on, let's see, when I wrote that article, I think it was like Monday night. Yeah. So by Monday we had gone up 400% on the Meta call. Now that was a straight call. So, your risk versus reward it's a lot higher on both ends. You can make so much more money, but your risk was a little bit there. I think the contract was, I don't know, $165 per contract. I mean, relatively speaking,
nothing too crazy. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, as far as let's take a look at the debit spread. Okay, so this was an interesting thing about ARM. So last earnings, let me move my chart here real quick. Sorry about that.
No worries.
I tell you, one of these days I'm going to get good at this. It doesn't seem like it's any day soon, though. I don't understand that.
As long as the trade ideas are profitable, I think we're okay.
Well, on ARM, it wasn't. So what ended up happening on ARM is we looked at the previous day. Let me get rid of this down here as well, just to give me some more real estate. We looked at this on, let's see, last Friday. So we looked at this on Friday here, and you can kind of see that we were just popping above the 20, and that's really kind of an area that I like. Now we're actually still going. So if you're still in this, I mean, this has to go, I mean, this really has to shoot up. And the only way that it could shoot up really is to have some sort of news event. And that's what this catalyst was for. Now, the risk versus the reward on the ARM trade was a debit spread. So we only risked $13. Now, on Monday, now this was what was interesting because I had several contracts on this. So on Monday, taking a little bit of profit, it got to 100% on Tuesday. And then that's when earnings came out and it slid.
Yeah.
So the nice thing about an earnings trade is that, you know, you can take it beforehand when the options are cheap. So if you get it like a week before, like we did on ARM, the options were really cheap to get into. If you wait the day before, the options get expensive.
Yes.
So we got in it when it was cheap. So the volatility there didn't really like crush us or anything. It was really more of a movement we needed. If you got out on Monday or Tuesday, you made money. In fact, let's see, I think it was Tuesday that we made 100%. Monday, we made somewhere around 60, 65%. Tuesday, it went up to 100%. Then you can just leave one as an example as a runner or, a small portfolio size as a runner to see if it actually plays out. Because a lot of these earnings events are just like, they're lottos. You don't know what's
going of course. Yeah.
Flip of the coin.
Yeah.
But still, a couple good trades. I love it when we put something on Friday, and you can take some off on Monday or Tuesday when you have some profit, and then leave a runner, or at least raise your stop loss. Right. Yeah. Every time you see yourself in profit, it's always good to raise your stop to break even, and then you can have a runner on it. It's a free trade. From
Makes
there.
Perfect sense. Now I know I've got a couple of stocks I want to take a look at for earnings next week. We can also take a look at obviously non-earning stuff. So that's where you come in. Do you have any stocks that you're kind of maybe swinging into next week, or any stocks you're kind of eyeing for next week as the chart develops to areas you care about?
I was actually, I was eyeing coin, but all of the, I would have thought as a news event that maybe because I'm not political, but, Trump was saying how he supported the cryptocurrencies and stuff. And so I actually thought that there may have been some sort of, that could have been a catalyst for something, but it really didn't turn out to be. Microsoft really was bullish this morning, but that actually too now with the, but look at this chart here on a 1 hour. It looks awesome. Let me take off this, well, we'll just leave it on, but you can see right here, this dotted line right here is where the last pivot high was, and it's still holding it. I really feel like Meta still has room to run. And if we take a look at Meta on a 4 hour, so if we end up breaking above, let's see, this last high was 414.94. If we get to the 415 level, I can see us start hitting some targets. Now, today, I'm not sure if today was going to be a catalyst or not. We had some of the information come out. We're, I don't know if you noticed this morning, but the VIX was rising as the market was rising. That's a great warning sign, by the way. And then the news came out, and we kind of went down today.
Yeah.
So I kind of wonder if we're going to have a sentiment change now, because we've kind of been running hot. So I think I'm just not going to have too much on for next week, but I think I would probably do Microsoft. And we could do this one of two ways. I would like to see it rise above that 515 level. In fact, or excuse me, the 415.50 level. We could do an automated trade, or we could just get right in here. If you wanted to really keep your risk versus your reward based on what took place today, right? We kind of want to see now, is this all of a sudden going to change the market sentiment? We've been bullish here this week. It's still looking good though, but we still need to break this last pivot high for us. And you can see how we did it this morning based on a wick. And I don't like doing my entries on a wick on closing candles. I really would like a break above this area, this 415.50. I'd love to do, you know what, we could get into, are you interested in getting into a debit spread?
Yeah, why not? Here, let's do it. I'll do it alongside you. So I'll go ahead and open up my swim, which,
So-
by the way, we'll see if it ends up opening at Schwab on Monday. I don't even know what's happening with that. I don't really use this as much, but I just use it whenever you and I are on. So, okay, What are we working with? You said Microsoft, right?
Yeah, so I'm already in a call for Microsoft. It looks like this
All right,
was
so
this morning. I
vertical.
got into it, a 420 call. But I think now with the sentiment change, I may turn this into a debit spread, but let's just do a debit spread if Microsoft continues to be bullish here. Where all you need to do is use the drop down here for the vertical. You could come right over here where it says buy, and you can see where it's 415 to 417. So this just means that we're looking for Microsoft to be above the 417.50 by next Friday. Now you can see that our expected move is about 9 points, either up or down.
Right.
So the other thing I'd like to look at too is gamma. I'm not sure. Do you ever use gamma, by the way? You know,
I'll look at it, but I'll be lying if I said I was an expert. So
okay,
educate me here.
but that's okay. Let me take a. Well, I'll just we could just do this. It's a sample trade for next week. This morning we were bullish on Microsoft, so continuing with that bullish momentum breakout that we had this morning on Microsoft. Let's just hope that this is just a slight pullback and then we start to rise again.
Yeah.
But our risk level here, as you can see, is about $92, $93. And our reward is about $157. So we're getting like, 1.5 times our reward for this. So I'm going to get a couple of these and go through this. Were you looking at any earnings plays or anything today?
The tickers that come to mind, and I haven't had a chance to look at any of the charts themselves, would be like Baba, JD, Walmart, Baidu. They all go ahead and report. And I'm actually, so again, it's the 415 and 417.50, right?
Yes. And I just got filled for 92 cents.
All right. Let me see if I can get filled for 92 cents as well. We'll wait for, I don't know if you heard that sound on mine or not, but I did go ahead and get filled. So we are in at 92 cents as well. So let's do this. Towards the end of the show, right? The last 3 minutes or whatever, we'll recap the trade that we took. So in the sense of like, here's a trade, here's why we took it. The same thing that your article has, just so maybe we can clip it out for the editors, put it in the article. We're just trying to do something fancy with it. But we'll do that towards the end of the show so we can kind of timestamp it. But talk to me about, we can take a look at Baba, we can take a look at JD, you can take a look at Baidu, and you've also got Walmart and Home Depot. All these tickers report next week. Which one would you want to maybe check out?
So I just want to let you guys know for Microsoft, if Microsoft drops below 412, then I think it invalidates, and we may get a further downside for Microsoft. So just a FYI, we did break out, but we're kind of just basing after the news. So because of that news event, we might have a flip in the market. So we'll see.
Yeah.
With that in mind, now that we have a stop loss in place, let's take a look at Baba. That sounds interesting. I haven't played Baba in a while.
It's been in the 70s since so long. I mean, it's just never really it never stays anywhere in the 90s. It just pops, then drops.
Yeah, I see that. Last time it was at 82. That was last week, and it was a little pop and it dropped.
Yeah,
but you know what? You can see that. I don't know if you're sharing my screen or not.
Yep.
But you can see that. We actually had a gap, right? In fact, all the indices had a gap, and most of those gaps were filled this morning with the drop.
Yeah.
But look at Baba Hold. That's an interesting tidbit of information. So it actually has a little bit of strength here versus some of the stocks, right?
Yeah.
So we popped above our 20. The 20 is my favorite, a reversion to the mean identifier on the chart. So as you can see, the 20 is holding nicely. And we're basically getting a buy on momentum here at 79.39. Now, because this, stock bases quite a bit, it looks like we have this gap and it's not filling. And I would say that this is actually a pretty decent setup, because if we don't start filling that gap, which is around 79.77, we could see this continue to go up. So even a debit spread for this, because do you like debit spreads? Would you rather get into some other like credit spreads? Or
I think debit spreads are good. Anything spreads than general can kind of help you minimize your risk, which is always good. Or else I would just be blowing
Yeah,
money left and right directionally, you know,
definitely.
so
Let's take a look at here. Yeah, this is actually a pretty decent setup. You can see on a daily, we've been consolidating in this range. And, when a stock is in consolidation, again, the options are cheaper when it's consolidating and doing nothing. So you can see that momentum is high and it's staying high. It's not like it's breaking down in momentum. I actually think this is a pretty decent trade. We have a vertical trend line here. And you can see that somewhere down the road in the past, I kind of marked this 72.26 level as being a level that
yeah.
I would be interested in watching. I don't know how long ago that was, but right now it's actually resting on this trigger. And so based on this consolidation, we're right in the middle of it. I really like this going forward, and I would take an at the money debit spread as well on this, looking for us to at least get to 82. And then let's take a look. 82, and then you got 88. But this is actually a pretty nice setup. Now
Yeah.
it could drop down, right? It could drop down and
so
test this level.
yeah, looking at your chart there, it popped up, right? From what is that, the 76 area or so? The yellow line that you have, the green, yeah, right there. And then it retested it, and then it held. So far it's holding on to the breakout level. So that's looking promising. Obviously nothing in life is guaranteed, but it's looking good, the fact that it held.
Yeah, and your R&R right here is great because you can see the last pivot high here on a daily is actually the 78.29 level, 78.34 level. You can see it in green right here.
Yeah.
So this level right here is actually the last pivot high. And as long as we stay above that, then we're going to be making a higher high. So it's in the process of doing that. We made a higher high, let's see, on the 6th. We have earnings here on the 14th. Yeah, we could do a little run up for next week. And I would suggest, if you end up taking a couple of days, if we come into Monday or Tuesday and we have run up to about $82, know that that's your first target. And then your next target is really going to be around the $87, $87, $88 level.
Now, how would you like to play this in the option side?
We may end up doing this. I would go to my trade tab and just take an at the money debit spread. We'll do it for, let's see, earnings is on the 14th. So we'll take the 17th, May 17th. And what we're doing is we're just using the drop down menu here on Thinkorswim for vertical. You could come right over here on your call side to buy. And you'll notice that right here, the strike price is 80.81. So you can easily, this is like very low risk versus reward. It's going to cost you $41 per contract. And it's almost a 1-to-1. You can make up to about $59. So just a little bit more. You can also make that wider, right? We could take a look at this and say, okay, instead of 81, we can make this $2 wide. The debit for this, your max risk is $78, what you paid for it. And then your reward would be about $122.
Yeah.
So looking at this week for May 7th, we have an expected move of only $5. So you can even see that because we've been consolidating, the market makers are just really kind of looking at this stock and going, hey, it may go up or down, $5, but not too much, right?
Yeah.
So we may end up getting an expected pop. If we do, that'll be great because we're at the money. We're not out of the money like we were on ARM. So any pop that we get above the 81 level in this example, we'll be making profit.
So let's do this. So I'm going to go to trade, go to Baba. We're doing a vertical again. I'm already there. And then you said we're looking at the 80 and 81. Yeah. So
yes.
I've got that for 15, 18. Nope. That's because that's this week. I need to go out to next week. All right, let's see if we can get filled at about 40 cents. And we'll go ahead and grab about, let's just say 3 contracts. Confirm.
Perfect.
Send. All right, we'll see if I get filled while I'm on the show. And we'll see if you can hear it. Any other stocks that you're looking at before we do a recap?
No, I think that's about it. I'm really kind of looking to see, we've been bullish. We got a real nice retest of some support levels. Be interesting to see how we end the day. to kind of see, for those that out there that like to just do some short swings.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice to be able to end the day positive, maybe have a couple trades on for next week. But I'm pretty light going into the weekend. We did a credit spread this morning.
Yeah.
We ended up profiting off of that with SPX. So kind of a light day for me.
Awesome. Let's do a 60-second recap on each of the trades that we took, and then we can get going. So let's go ahead and start things off with Microsoft. If you can give me the trade, the reason, the risk that we're taking on, and the potential profit for that, that would be great.
Okay, we're looking at Microsoft, really looking for Microsoft to break above the 415 level. Now, it did that this morning. And so because it did, we're looking to see, okay, it made a slightly higher high than the original pivot. And so we're looking to see if it comes and retests its 20 here. Let's put this on a longer time frame here. Ooh, you know what? I didn't see this dividend. We have a dividend on the 15th, 75 cents. By the way, guys, this will be interesting. I do have to tell you that typically when there's a dividend, the stock price will go down that amount. So think about that. So it may go down 75 cents. And remember that our level for Microsoft is not to break that 412 level. So we don't really want to break that 412 level. If it does, then we're out of this trade.
Yeah.
So think about that for today, by the way. But if it stays, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Give me the contract that you took and then the amount that you paid so we can see what the risk and reward looks like. And then we'll move on to Baba and then we'll call it a show.
Oh, sorry about that.
Oh, you're good.
415 of 417.50 was the call debit spread. And then let's take a look at Baba. Baba, we did a call debit spread and we did an 80-81. So you're basically buying the 80, you're selling the 81. It's a hedged position.
And then our risk there is, I guess you got filled at, what was it, 40?
Yeah, it was like, let's see here. I think it was 41 cents. If you were to take this trade as an example, your max loss is $41. Your max profit on this is $59.
Got it. Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to connecting later today. I'll check my calendar. I know you scheduled something, so I'll email you about that and we'll get going. Yeah.
That sounds great. And for those of you that want to check out our site or our Discord, it's tradingmadesimple.org. See you next Friday.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much for your time. Check those trades out. Check out our articles. We'll talk about that. Hopefully we can get that up later today, but I'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye now.
All righty. AT, the show is all yours to take and chat. We've been talking about trading equities. We've been talking about trading options. And now you know that I love to talk to executives from publicly traded companies because there's so much that goes on and we want to get your questions answered as well. So if you want, you can get involved in the chat or you can just, rely on me doing my research because we've got a great conversation coming up here right now. It's going to be with Brandon Robinson, who is the CEO of New Horizon Aircraft's ticker on the NASDAQ is HOVR. All access starts right now. Brandon, welcome to the show.
Hey, Zaid, thanks for having us back. Really appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Absolutely. Look, anytime a company has anything to do with flight, space, travel, I'm always interested, hoping that you can get me a VIP treatment one time. There's one time's all I was asking for.
We got to put your name on it, man. You just say the word.
We are live. It is recorded. It is clipped on the internet forever. But no, man, it's great to have you on. But for the folks that might not be familiar with your company, give us a quick insight on what is it that you do.
Yeah, so we're building a really interesting type of aircraft. So this new type of aircraft leverages electric power, and it can take off and land vertically, just like a helicopter. But en route, it can go about twice as fast as a helicopter, which is pretty cool, and is way cheaper to own and operate. So really, anything a helicopter can do, where primarily it's going from point A to point B, we're building a better version of that.
Got it. Understood. Now, I know you have, over the past several months, you've had a lot of incredible progress, right? You cleared significant engineering hurdles that you may have been facing in the past, especially with the flight testing program that you had great strides in forward too as well. Give us a little bit of insight on that, the continued flight testing process that's going on with the full transition to forward flight. Give us a little bit of a scoop on that.
Yeah, so over the last kind of 6 months, we've proven that the aircraft performs incredibly well in hover and sort of, slower forward flight profiles, and we're creeping up to what's called transition speed. And so in our aircraft, okay, so the hover is taken care of, and now as it moves forward in faster and faster speeds, at a certain speed, it's called transition speed, the wings transform. That's our patented technology. The wings transform and return the aircraft to a normal configuration, just like a normal aircraft. So instead of flying like a helicopter with blades spinning around all over the place, it just flies on very efficient wing-borne flight. So our flight test program has been going very, very well, and we're slowly approaching that final speed where we can transform the wings back to that of a normal aircraft. So that's been going extremely well.
And then you also have the detailed design of the full-scale, I believe it's called the X7 Hybrid eVault aircraft. That's on track for completion and testing in 2026?
That's correct. So a lot of really good lessons learned from our large-scale prototype. So still 22-foot wingspan, the thing's a really large aircraft. Some of the aerodynamic and mechanical lessons learned translate directly to the full-scale design. Yeah. So a lot of really positive results, and we're able to refine the full-scale design. Now we're actually building full-scale parts. So we'll have a 6,000-pound, 7-person aircraft ready to go in the next 24 to 30 months for flight testing.
I will find 6 friends to hop on a flight with me. No question about that. I was looking at this, and yaw is something that I'm interested in because I was on a flight to our event in Florida, and our aircraft had some yaw issues. It was very scary, and we had to make a U-turn and come back. So it's clearly important to a airplane system. Talk to me about the validation of the patent pending on the yaw control system that you currently have going on, especially as it comes to sustainability and control for the pilots that I know is so important.
Yeah, so great question again, Junaid. So one of the things we pride ourselves at Horizon Aircraft is that we're a team of operators and pilots first. And of course, amazing aerospace engineers on the team doing their amazing work, but we're quite an operational company, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So whereas, there's a lot of companies in the space that were born out of either Silicon Valley or some university think tanks that, some great designs on paper, but we're priding ourselves on a functional design that is very safe and very comfortable in the real world. So one of the critical things that we need to focus on is how does the aircraft control its yaw? So if it has a very significant side vector, there's a gust of wind from the side, a lot of aircraft will want to, immediately get jostled around and point into the wind, and maybe there's some roll, and it's very uncomfortable for the passengers. We have a patented system that NASA was actually quite interested in, to be honest, that allows, patent pending system, I should say, that allows a very unique way to control the yaw. And I'll tell you a funny story. I mean, the first time we tested it, we knew it was going to be powerful and very accurate, but one of the engineers was told, okay, just hold this in place and we're going to try to measure the force. And so he got on a kind of a chair. And when we kicked it into full power, it pulled him right off of his position that he was trying to hold it from. Yeah. So it ended up being an extremely efficient way to control that critical component, like you were saying.
We've got a question from the chat, and that's why I love doing these. They've got a question about what's the weight on batteries up for that many engines. So any insight on the weight, especially because you're trying to make it as light and effective as possible.
Yeah, well, exactly. And so I'll start off by saying most of the aircraft in this new advanced air mobility sector that, is growing exponentially, 20% plus compound annual growth rates. But most of them are all electric, which means they carry between 2,000 and 3,000 pounds of batteries on board. Ours is hybrid electric, so it still uses gas, which in a very efficient manner, gas still has about 20 times the amount of energy per unit mass that even the best batteries do. So we leverage that energy source in a very efficient manner. Instead of carrying thousands of pounds of batteries on board, we carry hundreds of pounds of batteries on board.
Right.
And that's why we're able to carry 7 people instead of only a couple people.
Now, when it comes to any updates in the pipeline that we can talk about, I got a couple more, but I want to talk about the future as well. What can potential investors or investors that are already within the company, what can they kind of expect for what's to come down?
So it's going to be an exciting year or two. So within the next few months, we'll be completing our flight test program, taking our large-scale prototype through transition to full wing-borne flight, which honestly, when you scratch the surface on a lot of the other companies, there's very few, even extremely large market cap companies that have actually successfully accomplished that on a large-scale prototype. So that's pillar number one, flight test program through transition, which is going to be very exciting. Number two, we're going to be proving out the full-scale underlying technology. So one of the core things is our in-wing fan units. And so we're producing right now a full-scale version of those propulsion units and testing them. So we're going to put it into a test stand, and we're going to beat that thing up and really figure out, how it works. And we want to make this aircraft as safe as possible. And that means tons and tons and tons of testing. So,
and that's where a part of the R&D budget goes right there, is to break things and figure out, again, call me. I will happily get my anger out on that. I know you've got, I was looking at some notes here, because you just announced updates to your technical flight testing progress as well. I'm a visual guy. Walk us through some highlights here.
Yeah. So, I mean, we put together a really nice video about it. But this was from a couple of weeks ago. And actually, we even did a flight a couple of days ago. This is for our forward flight transition flight testing. So again, we're taking off the aircraft, doing basic tests, and then accelerating at increasing speeds all the way up to that critical transition speed, where the aircraft can transform back to that of a normal airplane. And so this video highlights some of those pretty cool moments that we've had over the last little bit, and just shows the stability of the aircraft. The fact that we're a real company doing real engineering and making awesome progress versus just putting out a bunch of press releases, I think is, it's pretty cool. Yeah, no, it's one of those jokes where it's like you think a company is doing something, but then when you look on Google Maps, nothing really happening, so exactly. I'm happy to kind of see this type of movement. And that, again, that does look really cool. Let's talk about you have the AI space that's been taking off no matter what sector you're in, right? A lot of people are like, oh, I could do homework with this and pass my grades, but then you have images that are now produced and videos that are now produced. Do y'all use AI heavily in what you're doing? And if not, do you have any plans to, or do you feel like that's not yet in the automotive space? Yeah. So one of my pet peeves is that, everything is AI these days. And so we do use a lot of very advanced algorithms, but in terms of true AI, we do have a great pathway towards leveraging actual AI. So a really good example is now we have a digital twin that has performance very similar to the real aircraft. So we've taken real aircraft results, we fed it back, and we've calibrated our digital twin. And now with the million parameters that go into how the aircraft controls itself, we're looking into ways where it can fly 10,000 different mission profiles and explore modifying these variables slightly in an AI environment such that the aircraft is safer, it is more stable, it is more controllable. And then, we come in the morning and it's run its 10,000 mission profiles, and it's, it says, hey, take a look at these variables and tweak them a little bit. That works in the simulated environment. And in such a manner, we can have a good idea of what to tweak for the full scale aircraft. Yeah. Well, look, last question for me, and I'll let you go. Tesla's been in the news talking about full, FSD. Nobody's in the seat, but the car is moving. What are your thoughts on that translating to flight, right? Do you feel like we will be in a world in our lifetime where you won't need a pilot and that you will just be able to be transported from A to B thanks to AI, computer, whatever you want to call it? It's another great question, actually. There's a great quote there. I mean, humans always overestimate what they can do in 5 years and underestimate what they can do in kind of 10 years. In the next 5 years, I don't see it happening personally. I mean, to be frank, on the commercial side, aircraft have been able to pretty much autonomously fly themselves. I mean, any commercial airliner that you get into now almost has the ability to fly an approach, flare, land, and stop in the middle of the runway. So, I mean, it's pretty autonomous. Even given all of that, they still haven't removed the pilot from the cockpit. Yeah. And that's because, they have two of them. Yeah, I know. Exactly. Yeah. I was a CF-18 fighter pilot for 20 years. And the thing with the air environment is that there's always, it's a very complicated environment. And there's always things that pop up. And it's nice to have a human that's right there, that's in the loop, that can make those very complicated decisions when lives matter. And I see that as the future in the short to medium term. Now, in the long term, it might be very normal for us to just, jump into an air taxi. And the cool thing about the air environment is it's that third dimension. And now you can stack, aircraft in different altitudes, and it ostensibly is much safer than driving, like 100 kilometers an hour and past another car, with 20 feet separation.
100%.
So I'm excited about that future. But for the short to medium term, Horizon Aircraft is definitely focused on piloted aircraft. We think that's where customers are going to be the most comfortable initially, at least for the next little bit. And I think that's the way. The cool thing is all of the sensors on board this airplane and all of the fly-by-wire type flight controls, they're already set up for that transition to autonomous flying.
Okay.
When customers are comfortable, when the technology allows, when the environment allows, and but in the meantime, we're gonna have a pilot.
Yeah, I mean, I've taken a discovery flight 3 years ago because I wanted to get into this, because I grew up wanting to be a pilot, got Flight Simulator. Then I said that's way too many buttons, and I stopped pursuing that goal. And then, COVID hit, and I was like, all right, what am I going to do with my life? And then so I decided to take a discovery flight, but I was like, nah, this is scary. So point being, even as a consumer,
I spent a lot of time in the Air Force training pilots. I think you'd be great at it, man. I
appreciate again, I'm telling you what, next time we do this, my people will talk to your people, and we'll figure out a way to do this interview in front of your flight. And then maybe we'll take a flight. If my producer wants to join me, that's the risk that, they'll have to take. But any final thoughts from you before I let you go, man?
Well, and in that flight, we'll hand you the controls and you get to fly it around.
Just don't do what I did to my niece, and I give her a controller that's not plugged in, so she thinks she's playing, but she's not controlling anything. Just don't do me that dirty. But give me your final thoughts, man, because I know you got to get going.
Yeah. So no, we're just really excited to make a lot of progress in a very short period of time here. We're building a real world machine that is going to improve the lives of a lot of folks in the short to medium term. So really appreciate this opportunity, Sinead. Thanks for having us on again and letting us tell our story.
Absolutely. You bet, Brandon. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay. Take care, sir.
Take care. And chat, I appreciate the question that was asked. I think it's a great one, especially when weight, all those things matters, right? There's a reason flights charge you $50 when you're over 50 pounds on your packages. But appreciate you guys for watching. Again, that interview was Brandon Robinson, who is the CEO of New Horizon Aircraft. Ticker on the NASDAQ is HOVR, and this was All Access.